Love is magic. Metaverse is amazing.
Seven days of play, 28 games played per team. We still got one more day and 4 more games for all of these guys to go through before we do crown our champion here for the America's Elite League Season 3 2022 season. And man, it's been an absolute adventure, but we are here once again to bring you through it all. My name is Maxman, going to be one of your commentators for the day, but it would not be America's Elite League if we did not have the beautiful, amazing Imperium here on my side to bring you the action once more. Imperium, how are you feeling going into the final day, man?
I'm feeling excited, a little bit nervous. We will go into how close of a 3-horse race it is for the #1 spot. But it's always so lethargic coming into the final day of any tournament, right? Because you've had, whether it's been 2 days, 3 days, or of course 7 days, it's crazy that it's gone by somewhat as quickly as it has. It's crazy that it all comes down to this, right? You can set yourself up, you can have good day after good day, good game after good game. But when push comes to shove, you can't clutch it out, you can't get the job done. That first place isn't going to be yours.
Yeah, though one thing that's yours right now, Imperium, is the sunlight. Is that real natural light? Yeah, gotta be careful. I think that's not good for gamers. I think gamers aren't happy with real sunlight. You better be careful, get that checked, man, and see how things are gonna go. But yeah, man, it's gonna be a real intense day, and we kept on saying it throughout the rest of this tournament, right? Every single day, we had this very clear impression that teams were getting better. The lobby was getting stronger on the day-per-day basis. You could almost say game by game, but I think it's just such a small difference that you couldn't really spot it out. But really intrigued to see what's going to be brought to the table in this final day. Of course, we know that there's not going to be any Sanok today. It's only going to be some Miramar and Erangel action, which is going to be fun to see these teams play to the maximum amount of skill they've been able to provide so far in the tournament. But though one thing that we made as a very clear statement, right, Imperium, throughout these last few days in particular, was that top 5 is currently untouchable. And yeah, there's going to be that big fight happening between those top 5 teams. But if you're hoping to make in top 5 today, I got to tell you, odds are it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's really not going to be the case. I'm looking at if Nova can break into the top 3. They're 30 points behind. They've had a pretty good couple of days so far. They're currently the 3rd highest scoring team across kind of days 5, 6, and 7. With 137 points in 12 games. That's a really strong average. That's up there with, of course, what we've seen in the top 3 teams. They've got 4 games that showed off. They got 4 games that proved that NA does have a fighting chance across not only LATAM and you know, Brazil, but just the whole globe, to be honest, because it's 2 years since we've seen a North American team at the global finals, at the major final step of the esports year. Nova needs to be that kind of fighting chance, that fighting spirit at the very start of the year, leading into the very end of the year.
I can't wait for PMGC Grand Finals, and you're going to have both Nova teams, and it's going to feel like that meme, you know, of the 2 Spider-Mans pointing. It's like, wait a minute, why are you here? Why are you? That'll be a very interesting prospect to see how things are going to pan out. But yeah, as we said here, the top 5, of course, very hard, if not impossible, to breach in for INCO Gaming and the teams below it. But Nova, would love to see them breach in the top 3. VIVO, Keyed, Alpha 7, and Influence Rage. Want to give them a little bit of a run for their money entering this final day of play. Only 4 games will be played by every single one of these teams, so not a huge opportunity to make a really big change here after our past 28 games. We'll never know if things are going to be able to change for the better for some of these squads, though. If you're looking a little bit below, we've got some teams that, if you're on the bottom side of the first page, that means on our top 10.
Yeah.
I'm looking at, for example, XSET. I'm looking at INCO Gaming, INTZ. These are teams that have had some really good moments, but unfortunately also some really bad moments. There's that very big up and down tendency. But this is what I love to see from teams, right? They're still trying to improve and build themselves up before, you know, the PMPL NA actually starts. These are teams that if they find what works for them and what doesn't work before going into PMPL, this is like the best type of training / experience you could ever get before getting into a PMPL. So INCO Gaming, XSET, INTZ, I hope these guys can go a long way in the PMPL itself, because they've showed some really good moments in this America's Elite League.
Yeah, 110%. Looking at the second half of the standings, there's also scope, even from just a pride standpoint, to end in the top half of the standings. There's only 10 points dividing 10th and 13th, and then only another kind of 20 odd points with a couple of positions below that. So I'm looking at LAZARUS. They recently brought in a new coach for the PMPL Spring Split. So I don't know how quickly of an effect he's going to be having on the team's performance, but these 4 games hopefully will be able to give him, at least individually, a good scope of where LAZARUS are at and what they need to do coming into the PMPL Spring Split North America. But the opportunity is there for to get into the top 10 in today's games.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it is still, when you compare it to, for example, PMPL or other tournaments, right? This is not an impossible amount of games to come back from in the last day, right? There are some teams that might be able to jump, you know, 3, 4 extra positions, maybe 5 if you really push it a long way, especially if you're on the second page. But it's still not an easy task at hand, right? So I would like to see some teams, you know, finally have a big change of pace. And I think a lot of teams, especially entering today, have very little, if nothing, to lose, right? And I'm looking at some teams that have had some big issues in the past, that we're looking just full send it, YOLO today. I'm looking, for example, at your Delta Stars. I'm looking at Furious Gaming, LOTUS, The Chosen. Just send it, have some fun. And if you want to try things out, now's the time to do so, because you are not going to get any more in terms of prize pool. You're not going to get any big changes in your overall placement. So try things out. That, I think, is going to be the attempt. But of course, looking into our games, if you guys are used to how things work out here in the America's Elite League, one group is not going to be playing every single game. So for this one, on the first game of the day, is going to be Group A, was Honored Souls, Alpha 7, ESTORM, and The Chosen. You know, having a little bit more of a lying. I mean, I don't know, because of streaming so much earlier, I think it's truly gamer hours. So you know what? They're still going to sleep. They're going to stay in bed a little bit longer and get ready for match number 2 right after this one. But man, I cannot wait to jump into the first game. Imperium is the final day here, so the stakes are at an all-time high.
This is such an important factor when we talk about these groups, and it plays a much bigger role in the end result for the top 3. Influence Rage will have until the final game an extra game above Alpha 7. Just remember that. Right now, coming into these 4 games, or the total 5 games, 1 point divide the top 2 of Influence Rage and Alpha 7. Influence Rage need to take every single advantage they can get in this specific game and in every single game after that to create that cushion against not only, of course, Alpha 7, but VIVO Key. Because in game 2, VIVO Key, they're not playing as well. Therefore, Influence Rage will have the extra game ahead of VIVO Key as well as Alpha 7 right up until game 5. It's a little bit of a shame to an extent that Influence Rage aren't playing in the final game, because it would nice to have that kind of, you know, finishing, whoever finishes first come down to that final game a little bit more heavily. But that's the way the cookie crumbles. This is the format all the teams knew coming into it. Still makes it damn exciting.
Yeah, if I had to be completely honest here, I would hate to be in Influence Rage's shoes, because you're going to be looking at the last game and you won't be able to have any influence on what the hell is going to happen, right? And if you know as a fact that the amount of points between yourself and second, or second and third, depending on whatever situation we find ourselves in that last game, if only happens and they're like, oh wow, they're picking up 1 elimination, or they're going stuff another, or they're getting way closer, or they're actually making it in top 5. It is a very stressful situation. I've seen so many teams and players just stress out over situations like that, so I fully understand it. It's a little bit horrible, but that's the thing, is that now their first game or so, I would see that as a great opportunity, right? One of their biggest opponents, Alpha 7, is not playing out game 1. Then the second game, one of your other big opponents, which are VIVO Key, are also not playing. This is an opportunity for you to be the true sponge of that lobby in those games in particular, get as many points as possible to create that advantage, create that cushion, and set yourself apart. I think it's an opportunity in disguise, but of course, towards the end, is that they're going to be biting their nails. It's going to be pretty damn stressful. We'll have to see. But though, if there's one team that if we're going away from like our top 3 teams of Influence Rage, VIVO Key, Alpha 7, Rise have really truly impressed me throughout this tournament. And I said really a lot of times, because that is to the extent at which I'm actually impressed by these teams, and especially Mythic in particular. Mythic, and of course the team playing around Mythic really well, but Mythic being still at this very moment the top fragger was what I think was about a third or 40% of the total eliminations for his team. That is a mental stat when you think this team has been in 5th for the longest time in this tournament over the course of, after today, 32 games. I really want to give credit to Mythic in particular, because this guy has been an absolute beast through and through.
And you can see on that top MVP graphic that you have in front of us, he's second place behind Revo. Are you really surprised? Revo Alpha 7, the top MVP across the board, and Creo, it's an Alpha 7 sandwich per se. But I agree. I echo exactly what you say about Rise Esports. They've impressed me a hell of a lot, and it's why I've made statements along the lines of a little bit more tweaking. They will be in PMGC at the end of 2022.
And what's even more insane to really think about, right, is that Rise is going to have Senatexa. And that is, like, mind-boggling, right? Like, if they can improve with having Senatex in the team, man, that could be absolutely nuts. I cannot wait. But once again, quick little description, as we did have a rehost unfortunately happening for the first game, so you know what, going to take a little bit of time, more time to describe what's happening, and the current events are going to be going down in these next 5 games. But the prize pool is of total this season compared to last season was $5,000. Now it's $10,000, and 80% of that is going to be going to the bottom. 20 teams in general, but it's mostly going to be the bottom 16 teams. Most of those going to be getting themselves a decent portion of the prize pool. $400 for every single team purely by participating, and also for first place is going to be $1,100, $900 for second and third, and then it's $400 for every single team. So that participation prize pretty nice to get for these squads. And man, I mean, maybe even double next season, maybe 20k next year. Okay, that's maybe a lot to ask. But you know what? I never know.
You never know, and that's one variable that you bring into play as well, which goes back a little bit, which I absolutely think is an important factor to bring on board. The fact that the teams that are in the middle of the pack bar getting into the first half of the standings, Max, they've got absolutely nothing to lose. They've got nothing really to gain per se. So how much of a, you know, ticking time, you know, are they going to be for affecting VIVO Key's gameplay, affecting Influence Rage by going for an alternative drop spot, going for an alternative path line, going for an extra level of aggressive playstyle? Those are your variables that can really be a difference why Influence Rage win, Alpha 7 win, or VIVO Key win. It's not going to be the full reason, of course, because these three teams are there for a reason, but it is something to heavily think about coming into every single game today.
Yeah. Question, Imperium. Yes or no question right now. Hot drops today. Are you going to be seeing them? What do you think?
No. No.
No? Yeah.
Well, wait.
Other than the
wait, just clarification outside of what we normally see. I presume you mean by that question.
Yeah, it's weird to say that we have some hot drops that are like the norm now in this tournament, but yes, we have those like in Minas Gerais, inside of school apartments, which you haven't really seen that in the last few days, but I think it's because of the group rotations. We couldn't quite see Rise X, and it still actually happened to the western side of school apartment, I believe yesterday. Actually, we had that fight go down. So, yeah, other than those hot drops, we're going to see potentially new ones. That's the question.
No, I don't think we will. It's an interesting question. Normally I would kind of say yes, but based on what we've seen and based on the pride in which all these teams seem to have and how emotionally driven I feel like these regions are, I don't think it's going to be a case. I don't think they're going to go for the unorthodox hot drops. Who knows? It might be driven to that desperation wise, but I don't think it's going to be the case.
Yeah, but we'll see. I mean, our first game here is going to be Miramar, and that means, of course, going into Miramar, we're going to be having that hot drop happening in Minas Gerais. It's going to be Nova taking a fight versus Loops. You know what? While we have a little bit of time, as you say, we do have a little bit of a rehost happening here. It's been pretty much a close 50-50 between Loops and Nova. Shall we do a friendly bet on you take one team, I take the other, or I pick first and you go on the other? You want to play that?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
What's the bet though?
I will go. I mean, there's nothing. We're not betting anything. We're just doing.
No. Yeah. Friendly bet. Okay, so the next time we meet, if you win the bet, I have to buy you dinner, and if I win the bet, you have to buy me dinner.
Ooh. Okay. You know what? You got yourself a deal. Big man. We'll see. Though, elsewhere, if you take like a 5-star restaurant for if I lose, I will fight you. Okay? No, we're gonna go Mickey D's and we'll just get some chicken nuggets and that's about it. But though we're not gonna get, well, hopefully you got your chicken nuggets ready, ladies and gentlemen, because we are ready for our first game of the day for Day 8 of the America's Elite League Season 3 2022 season. And this playing path, I'm not going to quote it as what you said yesterday in Imperium, called one playing path sexy. This would be the complete opposite of that word. Pretty southern, not fun for a lot of these teams. And we know a lot of teams like to drop in Tierra Bronca, Torre Mara, Cruz del Val, Campo Militar. So this is going to be a pretty rough start of the game for a lot of these players.
You didn't say which team you picked.
Oh,
Loops
true. Nova.
Or Nova. Okay, fair enough. I'll go Loops then. That's all good in the hood. You're dead right about the playing path being kind of so heavily south. It's going to be a little bit of a pain in the hoo-ho as Delta Stars are going to drop to Valdemar. Nice early drop down on that south side and a good adaptation coming out from Delta Stars as they'll be able to loot up early, rotate early, react to phase 1 relatively cleanly inside this game number 1. Other than that, Lazarus heading towards El Pozo. You have Team Queso dropping in Monte Nuevo. That's pretty standard stuff. Yeah, it's so far so good in that phase 1. It's really not the worst thing to deal with. It kind of complements the playing path as a good bit of a landmass available. Just waiting. I'm just waiting to see what happens.
What happens if Nova do not go into Minas Gerais with Loops? What happens? The bet cancelled, or like we go to a restaurant and I pay what you eat and you pay what I eat?
Well, firstly, I just wanted a reason to go on a date with you, okay, Max? Like, you know, that was my plan all along. Secondly, Technically, we just wait until another Miramar game rolls around and then we can continue the bet.
Doesn't your girlfriend like watch when you cast? Hope
No,
not for
she
you.
doesn't. Shh.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, our secret.
Well, that's good, and that's that. Damn, she doesn't watch. Wow.
Yeah.
Disappointing. I'll have to have a chat with her. What the hell? Not good, not good. The Rio Kid love their position. A lot of success found in such a position in the power grid location yesterday's games. Not able to go into games Alpha Chicken Dinner. Alpha 7 were mightier towards the end. But they found some success in that position. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So far, pretty similar approach, though. Inside of Los Leones, we're going to be having also a pretty similar fight that we've seen happen there quite a bit with 3 teams. Actually, Black Dragons are going to be there also. So 3 teams there was also Furious Gaming. Other than that, this is a very, very passive Miramar, which should be normal. But in the Americas Elite League, this is not the norm. Normally, we have like already a few teams taking some fights. We already have a few players down. But no, this is a Miramar-esque Miramar. But there's only 14 teams that I just realized I had my camera hiding my the numbers up there. So what happened?
I don't know. One thing I do need to point out is I appreciate the fact that Nova have dropped the Porto Preso. I think that's a big sign that they're taking this final day somewhat seriously. And remember when I highlighted yesterday that this is a great opportunity for the teams to put themselves in the mindset of this is the final day of, let's say, the PMPL finals or the final day of the PMPL league stage, or even going forward, a big day or a big game in qualifying for PMGC. It's a great time to practice that. I think that's the case with Nova. They know that this isn't, this isn't the most objectively important tournament to be in the top 3, but from a mentality standpoint and from a confidence standpoint, to after so many days where it's been all Influence Rage, VIVO, and Alpha 7, for them to take one of those spots away would be honestly such a good victory for them. So I love that they've changed up their drop spot. They don't need to take the fight with Loops. They don't want to. They'll play for the late game and they'll get a good result for it, hopefully.
I mean, you brought that up earlier, right? What are they right now? In the last few days, they were, what, top 3 average points per game? I believe you mentioned. So they're definitely getting the right amount of points to make that dream become a reality for them towards the very end. Of course, can they actually cross the finish line, or is it going to be a little bit too late? That's the question that we're going to have to answer throughout today. But Nova are definitely putting the efforts into it to make sure that they have a big chance of making it happen. And I believe, I might be mistaken on this one because I do not have the numbers, I do not have the stats, but seeing past results, I would not be too scared to say that I think the Miramar is the map where they have the worst results. Because of those early fights happening with Loops. Of course, they did get himself that really close chicken dinner up north of Los Leones position, which is a very interesting one. But those fights with Loops would definitely hurt them, and here they're increasing their odds by a very significant margin. So big ups to Nova on to that one. I really appreciate them going through the extra bit of effort to make sure they are safe in the early game. Talking about safe, might not be the case in the center of the circle here, as we're going to be seeing, I think it's Diego Viva Kid, getting really close to boy of BULUC CHABTAN. BULUC CHABTAN looking a little bit adventurous, ready to go outside of the main territory and looking for intel. Could result in an extra knock coming out. So yeah, Viva Kid, BULUC CHABTAN need to be a little bit careful. They are somewhat crossing over one another's boundaries.
Curious to see how Nova are going to rotate into this circle. Maybe a deep rotation on the eastern side to come in via, let's say, water treatment area, or even to the west of Al-Azhar might be a good idea. That will take time. But Nova are the kind of team who at times are used to, let's say, playing in the blue in the first couple of circles. I like this proactive play from Diego, Maxman. It's important early on to be able to take those shots off onto a player or a team to send them back a little bit further away, so you're able to, as a team, communicate and get more information on other teams around you. Although Diego's disciplined with the trigger, he is looking for the knock.
I really thought he was going to go for the spray when Boy just stopped the car in the middle there. Got a little bit spooked for Boy, but you know what? Luckily enough, Diego has the trigger discipline, so Boy will remain alive. And I think Diego's made me looking at this and thinking, not sure how many players really are here. That means that if we do get a knock, we've got to follow it up. So it would be just a waste of ammo at that point, and it would give information away. So, hey, just take it slow. Oh, he's picking up the car again. Where's Boyd doing?
I don't know. I don't know.
Trying to get 10 out of 10 parking. Oh, there you go. He's leaving, and that's the time to go for the spray. Actually hits 2 bullets almost instantly. Really good initiation from Diego. And Boy is just gonna stop. He's gonna explode the car. He's gonna explode the car. I don't know why Boy would stop there. I would have maybe tried to go back into the compound or pick up some speed and leave. But literally, if Diego does what I think he's gonna do, he's just gonna try and pop the wheels. Oh, okay, there's a buggy right. There was a player there? I didn't even see him the entire time. Okay, well, it comes on picking him up. Uber is here. Now he's gonna go for the spray. Could get himself some decent damage from that type of range, but unfortunately just not meant to be for VIVO Kid, and BULUC CHABTAN will make it away just fine. Okay, that was a little bit of a weird altercation, but still, Boy will live another day.
Yeah, look, it didn't result in a knock, but again, it's all about that suppression. It's all about VIVO Kid making more space. You're on that massive high ground of Picado Hill. If you look, they have that 2-1-1 split. It's so valuable for you to send a team like BULUC CHABTAN away from their location towards that Picado Hill, because now they're much closer to INCO, and if INCO and BULUC fight, even though VIVO Kid won't get the elimination points, it's like, yeah, okay, another team will do our dirty work for us. Happy days. We play into a better position in the mid game. So that's really valuable play being pulled out by VIVO Kid. Simple, effective. Let's see how it works out for them. Lazarus are rotating up on towards the big El Azahar mountainside to the east of the city. It's not a full squad committing to that area, but it's a good start.
Phase 2 circle pops, and it's going to be a northeastern one power grid, going to be pretty central with the southern mountain of San Martin, so could be a finish with a lot of elevation unless it goes straight up north towards Hacienda del Patron, where it could be pretty flat terrain, but with some parts of elevation. I mean, definitely we're going to be having some hilltops and mountains to play around, so teams better be wary of how things are going to go. Though Nova, there you go, the fight's coming their way, and QZ gets it done. That's going to be a second knock right there. He's actually going to try and confirm both of them. They're going to drop down, so maybe a little bit tougher to actually get those eliminations confirmed. But Rise, oh Rise, the aggressive team in disguise, and they just hear the shots. They want to get involved. They want to go for the third party, and that's going to be the full-on push. They're sending it, and Garrix is going to be the one on the forefront. Oh.
Yeah, I did ask how Nova are going to rotate into the circle, and instead of playing on the eastern side, they've gone for a more diagonal push. They're going up against Rise and even Black Dragons.
Here you go, they make it over to that little hilltop, to that little ridge line. A lot of information is going to be coming their way. That's big from Rise. And it was not an easy one, but Nova were just still trying to heal up from their wounds, taking a fight versus Black Dragons. Talking about Black Dragons, still taking a fight versus them. QZ, oh, he gets absolutely punished by Nicholas down below. Oh man, Nova, the downfall maybe begins right here. QZ is in a position where he could still get res, but Rise, seeing the elimination feed light up, thinking this might be a great opportunity to go for the full-on push. So Rise definitely want to try and get something done. That smoke negating information away from Rise, though. Just going to be taking their merry time, healing up as much as they can to get ready for second re-engage, but Black Dragons healing up also from their wounds. Will try and leave the fight if they can, but it's not an easy task at hand. So I think everyone wants to try and disengage, except for Rise, because they are looking for eliminations to push their way into the top 3.
Revive came out, lovely play by Zfan to open the door. Gets a knock on the Mythic. No better man to eliminate if you're looking for a well-earned team fight win. And QZ now in the backline, focusing on the rest of Rise, will be able to support his teammates in a much stronger way. Lovely Nate being cooked up by Kindness. Well calculated in around the smokes, not quite connecting.
Nice try from Kindness, though. Try and chuck even more utility for now. But yeah, Nova want to potentially leave this one, which I fully understand. Oh, no. Oh, I thought he was leaving. No. He's going for the off angle right now. Oh, I don't hate this. I actually really enjoyed this. Good idea, though. Over to another piece of action that's going to be happening. It's going to be Ints versus Loops. There's Ints on the receiving end on the other side of the barrel, and they're going to be having one player knocks. We're going back and forth a lot right now. That's how much action is currently unfolding in the early game. But Rise, here we go. The off angle of Koi is going to be paying off. They're currently in the blue zone 2. So there's that extra time factor added to the equation. But Nova, man, surrounded. There's Black Dragons to the west. There's going to be Rise over to the eastern side. Koi is really trying to make sure to clear some space for his team, but right now he's going to be struggling to do so.
Great distraction play coming out from Koi, allows Kynets to get the revive onto one of the Nova players, and I think they are now going to look to disengage overall across the board as Koi gets back in his vehicle, is going to play in towards the underside. Couple of shots being played up by Gary X. Rise, now will they refocus onto the rest of Nova Esports? Phase 3 pops up as well. Maxis shifts over towards the northwestern side of the circle. Craterfield is on the very northwestern edge. Lazarus have a full spread, but as of right now, they're the only team that are inside the circle.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. There's literally only Lazarus in the circle, which is very surprising. You know what? We'll see if they can capitalize. I mean, they definitely got a good option when it comes to good spots there. Literally, the team that should be able to get there first, and seem like they're just going to center up. Except for Issa Jat is just going to remain on the more western edge of the circle, waiting there maybe to get as much information as possible, which is, he's on a really high hilltop that's on the east of El Pozo, so it's a really hard position to really push upon unless ATON want to push it. I mean, they're going right at the bottom section where you can actually start climbing. Do they actually want to breach that position of Issa Jat without any information? That's a risky one from ATON, and I do not think they're going to be able to make it without any players getting knocked, so they better be careful about that.
I think Lazarus only starting as a 3-person team, it was a big risk for them to have a 2-1 split, being perfectly honest. I can commend it in some way, shape, or form. VIVO Keyed make their way across to the 3-1 split, looking to pressurize 2 of the Lazarus players, but Team QUESO also down on the south side. Isajat holding on to the big mountain hill of El Pozo, all on his lonesome.
What a nade to Lucky. It's for double. Oh, a little bit too cooked. Also medium rare. That was a medium.
Ooh,
there you go, round to Lucky. And Jack gets the headshot onto Lucky once more. ATON. I said it, this is not a position you want to breach without getting at least a little bit of information beforehand, and the information they had none. And I'm saying that it's way harder to scout this exact position where Issa is, right? Because if he's wary of his position and how he shows himself, with that third-person perspective, you're literally never going to see him. So I understand the play from ATON, but there's always that risk you should try and be prepared for. And in this case, they were not.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. And it was some great solo play from Isajat overall. The only risk Isajat really faced was the fact that technically as he peeks over that mountain, more of his body is exposed, but otherwise you're dead right about how much kind of control and how much of an advantage he had in that position against the 2 ATON players. It's working out so far in the 2-1 split for Lazarus. Nova still yet to make their way out of the blue zone inside this phase 3 and in towards the edge of the circle. Influence Rage, who I said this is a super important game for, as they are not playing in the final game of the America's Elite League. Only 1 elimination point so far. 41 players left alive.
Slow but steady wins the race. That's going to be the game plan for Influence Rage in this game, it seems like. With a circle, another hard shift. At first it was northeast, then it was northwest, and then it's southeast. So he's just going ping pong all over the place this time, and the only team that's got himself a really, really good position currently is VIVO Keyed. And if you're looking at this and you're Influence Rage, you are not happy to see VIVO Keyed have a good game here. So Influence Rage going to have a lot of action coming their way later on, potentially if they decide to breach it. No Rise, here we go, get involved once again. Not super healthy. A lot of the players are down to about 50% HP. Fast able to get himself the first aid in the nick of time. But that's going to be the breach. They're looking for the info through the rails on the staircase. Are they going to be able to go any further, though? Gary X is going to be the one to initiate that fight. Oh, Kawoski is just sending himself forward and going YOLO into the air. Back onto the push of Rise. Here we go, trying to send it, though. One grenade on the other side could be huge, but doesn't even have the time to do so. That's elimination number 4 for Rise, and they're looking so good at the start of this game.
I believe Nova are down to 1 player, if I'm not mistaken. Influence Rage are going to recover off the back of that little encounter with the Nova players. VIVO Keyed still have a big 4-man spread in towards the central part of the circle. Rise committing inside the southern edge of San Martin, I don't fully agree with, but I appreciate the fact that they've been aggressive on that position. The team that, in my eyes, has the absolute best cream of the crop spot inside this phase 4 is Loops. Nobody was there. They made their way from north. They have the high ground, they have the compound, they have cover. It's all good in the hood for Loops.
I would even say VIVO Key's position is very strong, but it would be strong when they clear all the southern teams. Right now, there would be Team QUESO, there would be Influence Rage, there would be Rise, there would be also Furious Gaming, and even Lazarus if they really want to be an issue. If they can survive all of that, VIVO Key are in a very similar position to Loops, which is they got an easy position to defend, and they got a lot of easy views as to what's happening inside the circle itself. So VIVO Key, in terms of potential, it's absolutely huge, but they need to get there first, and right now they are not that far into the game. Though the circle's going to be starting to close up now. We're 50% done on that one. Furious Gaming with the smoke road going to try and cross on over. It's only Tigers in for now. See if maybe they want to get another player across here, but Furious Gaming, I think, are pretty aware, Imperium, that cross is going to be a real tricky one to pull off.
Lazarus need to really focus on what's going on behind them. Starlight's just gotten knocked. Don't know how exactly it happened, but the two players maybe have gone a little bit too deep and they pay the price. Is it Jack going back for the revive on the Starlight?
Oh wait, for a split second there, I saw an orm in the hand of a player. I think it was Kowski, actually, from Influence Rage. Ooh, in their type of position, just peek and shoot above onto VIVO Key or Team QUESO or Lazarus' position. That orm could be deadly. I'm going to be paying very close attention to the elimination feed because things could get spiced up over there. VIVO Key now looking to push out a little bit more. I'm really surprised with how VIVO Key are playing that split. I'm not a huge fan of it. As they go, Rise finally going for the engage onto Furious Gaming. That's 2 extra eliminations, up to 6 already, Imperium. You said it, Rise shouldn't be normally capable of making it in top 3, but I mean, if they play results like this all the time, plus get the chicken dinners on top of it, hey, you never know. Things could work in favor of Rise. Yeah,
that's the thing. I may not agree with how they've played into these circles, but they played aggressively and they've carved their positions inside these last couple of phases. Circle shifts up, it goes northwest. Are you agreeing with me a little bit more now? Loops have the best position once again inside the circle.
Circle literally goes on top of them. Do you agree with me now, Max? Yeah, I can't predict circle shifts, Imperium. Okay, I try, but no, that's not how I was going to go. But...
it definitely wasn't based on I predicted the circle was going to go this way. More that Loops do continue to have the best position.
I call BS, but we'll see if Team QUESO is going to call BS. Apparently they will. Adrian's just too damn good on those shots. He's going to try and get a little bit wide. He's only got a palm tree to defend himself, so one or two more bullets, and that is pretty much Team QUESO out of the game. And as I say that, we're going to see the elimination feed light up with a bunch of Team QUESO names, and that means they are out of this game in 8th. 7 teams still remain and racing for the first chicken dinner of day 8 here of the America's Elite League Season 3. VIVO Key still fighting versus one player of Lazarus. Is going to be Issa, but if I were Issa, I would just leave. This fight is just not worth taking, or leave, or just remain in the blue, trying to heal up before moving to the circle. But VIVO Key are the true kings currently of the southwestern side.
Obviously, they're a team that probably got kicked in the face the heaviest on that circle shift, because if they try and go directly into the edge of the circle from that western side, they're going in quite flat. Did you maybe see a bit of an opening as they pick off a bit of a knock, I believe, onto one of the ATON players, but with no real hard cover? I think they're just going to have to try and send it around and go into the edge of San Martin. There's buildings, there's a bit of cover. May not be the best long-term, but short-term, it makes sense to me.
I'm really surprised as to how Toyko got knocked for Loops. I think that position should not be used aggressively right now, at least purely just information gathering. That is it. Play super passive and take the shots if needed later on, but right now I think that they do not have to really get involved in the elimination feed though. CLO peeking on top of that little hill, and Rise just don't want anything to do, or do they? Or do they? Or they're going to stop actually. They're looking for the fight, and they're going to be sending one player down south on top of the road, Imperium. A huge high ground advantage, but the main issue is that Mufasa is going to be now the main target for a lot of these teams, and Influence Rage are going to be able to spot him out, trying to take a few shots. Mufasa will make it away. He's behind the rock now. That could be absolutely huge, but Mythic, no looksies. He doesn't even look back. He knows that's an absolute bang of an aid. Diego's done. Too far away from the rest of the team to get instantly healed off, and Mufasa's there to make sure that they cannot go for the res. He is just making sure that Vivo Kid stay in this position and just get bullied by the rest of his team.
Oh my god, what a great back-end angle as well by Mufasa. It doesn't matter if he's gone down. To me, that's a beautiful sacrificial lamb situation. Allows Rise to come in and gain control of this fight.
Come on, McGrellin, you did great things yesterday. Get himself the first aid kit, made in hand, going to be thrown away, get some severe damage. One bullet is all he need. And Mythic does just that. That's it for Vivo Key. They take the L. 11 eliminations for Rise. They don't care. They take down the top threes just like that.
God damn it, Rise are playing with such purpose, with such control. Of course, Vivo Key, not a bad game with the elimination points, but placements, gonna see them suffer. They're not gonna be playing in game 2, so they're gonna have to sweat a little bit more at the end of this game. And hopefully Influence Rage won't get the best result for themselves. They're still up as a full squad. They have 2 elimination points.
This sucks so flat with the Rodin play, about 50-50 split around that one. Not fun to play around, but Influence Rage, they committed to a 3-1 split. Very, very intriguing, sending Galski down south solo. Now the 3, we'll see how it's going to go. Galski, come on, the defense, the molly. Ooh, I thought he mollied himself there for a split second. Gary X is going to have to go a little bit further, wide around, can't really get the info. Getting shot by other teams on the side. Maybe, you never know, it could help him out. Roger, oh no, jumps through the window. Oh my god, don't do that, Kalski. You scared the hell out of me. But luckily enough, he makes it out just fine. Up to still 2/3 HP, going to heal up slowly but surely. Now he has the off angle set up for his team. It was not an easy one to secure, but now that information he's going to get for free now is going to be so useful for Kalski and the side of Influence Rage to secure this chicken dinner.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking this is an Influence Rage chicken dinner because Loops, as you correctly pointed out, they have to move downhill. Delta Stars have done a good job so far. They still have 2 players up. But when you're pinched in between Influence Rage and Delta Stars, it's really not going to be easy for Loops.
Yeah, not too easy for them, but get it out. Unless they take the 5 versus 1 another, then there's a potential third-party option that opens up for Loops. See if they're going to be able to make something of it. And there you go. They see the elimination feed. They see, oh, maybe this is the fight. These other teams are currently gatekeeping us and they're taking a fight. So this is the time for us to now get a little bit more involved. Good nade from Federalis is going to go and hit the mark, though not too sure. Instant headshot plus the body shot from Chief. That's going to be getting rid of Kowalski. The off angle has now been lost for Influence Rage. It's now Loops start tumbling down the mountain, but they get absolutely wrecked with the initial nade from Fraggers. Now there's down to 1 for Delta Stars. Fraggers, can he go the entire way? While Loops are just getting spotted from the other side. It's not easy, but that's it. Delta Stars spotted out, and so do Loops. No one will survive the Northern Wrath. Now only Influence Rage remain in that position. Influence Rage versus Rise. That's going to be the epic head-to-head to finish off game 1.
Circle, shift down south. This is Rise's game, but no! Federal gets a knock.
Oh, Mythic, it's all down to you, my friend. 1v2 peaks up. That's God. Another one. This man does not give a damn about your feelings. Federal, Law down. Lil Boy, the stepping player. Well, not stepping player. Sorry, the player that's been able to step up, should I say, for the team of Influence Rage time and time and time again. Mythic. Can he step up this time? He doesn't even have the time to prone down. It's Mythic. He doesn't need no one on his side. He just needs himself, and they're going to be securing himself the first chicken dinner of the day. They didn't even have the numbers. They didn't have the position most of this game, but yet they push into the last circle. They get control, and Mythic is all you need to secure the first win of the day.
Like, yeah, I said that Rise were playing with purpose. They didn't have the best rotations, in my opinion. Like playing onto the edge of San Martin, I think holds its own big risks. But they knew what those risks were, so they controlled those risks. They adapted their gameplay to coordinate with those risks. And when it was all said and done, that little bit of extra circle look allowed them to come in. And Mythic, the man with the biggest cojones, the biggest balls in all of PUBG Mobile, just stepped up, got the second knock, got the third, got the chicken dinner. And he came out on top with his Rise teammates.
Didn't even get the res on news. I think he cancelled. I think we're going to see right now. I think he spotted the play at one point. Did he go actually?
No, I think he got the revive.
I thought he stopped for a second. I was like, he's just like, nah, I can get it. I mean, he could have just stopped right away and got the elimination faster, but there you have it. And you know what? All of that came down to Imperium. That was the great push for Vivo Keats' position. that off angle from Mufasa unlocked all of the southern side for them to play around that kind of spot. Yeah, and it's just, it's the spiral effect, and it works out so good. Really, really good step up from them, and to get himself a game like that, love to see it. Rise able to get himself the chicken dinner and 34 points total. While Influence Rage, we said it, they want to get as many points as possible, but VIVO Keyed not falling into a bad game, still 9 points, so Influence Rage not really able to have the huge impact I think that was maybe expected to try and create that cushion, and they're not playing the last game.
Look, again, I cannot understate overall the consistency Influence Rage have had across this whole tournament, and specifically yesterday and coming into today. For example, 16, 12, 13, the 3 games in a row they played yesterday, and then 18 in this first game of the day. However, when every single point counts, and you had that one game that Alpha 7 weren't competing in that you were, could that lack of chicken dinner, those 3 less placement points, be the reason why Influence Rage, as you've seen in this game, are the bridesmaids and not the bride?
Yeah, that's going to be it. But Influence Rage, you know what? It's still a good game, as you said, right? We cannot understate how much they have been able to remain consistent throughout every single days of these tournaments. So really good stuff from them. They're going a little bit lower, going to be seeing ATON, but had also a very, very good result. And I think that we've been seeing a lot more better results from ATON. I think they got himself the last chicken dinner in that Stolper finish yesterday. Able to get himself 9 points in the first game today. ATON is one of the few teams that I'm looking at throughout this tournament that have very clearly improved over time. So really, really happy with the likes of ATON and what they've been able to bring to the table. But man, we're so close yet so far from that 20 elimination. I think we've only had so far 1 in this tournament, and that was from Alpha 7 on the first few days of the America's Elite League. We'll get another one. Maybe not this season, but we'll get more. Don't worry, maybe next one. We'll see how things are going to go down. But hey, Rise, absolute perfection to the very end. And Mythic, showing really in this game Imperium, I would say why he's currently the top frag in the lobby is not because of just pure randomness and luck, is because it's just pure skill. This man embodies pure skill in PUBG Mobile Esports right now, and I cannot wait to see how far he can go.
And I would hedge my bets on him being one of the most dangerous individual players currently in PUBG Mobile. I don't know if that's overstated, because maybe we're isolating it to this tournament, and we're coming off the back of a very strong, not only team but individual performance. But I kind of stand by it, that he is right now one of the most dangerous individual players in PUBG Mobile. You give him a sprinkle of time, the magic of Senatex on the Mythic roster, and that could be a recipe for big success in the tail end of 2022. I've talked about already, but Mythic specifically, MVP of PMGC, like, that question, I don't think it's a stupid question to speculate about.
Who would have thought he was going to be the MVP this game? I would never have guessed. I thought it was going to be someone else completely. No, 14 eliminations as a solo, by the way, for Mythic. The numbers speak for themselves. I don't even have to say anything. That right there, that change of face, that's the face of the enemies when they're going up against Mythic. Like, oh no, not again. And he's got the haircut. Told Imperium, that's the haircut when you're OP at PUBG Mobile. I'm just saying, okay? White hair, it's true. It's a real theory. It's a theory, a game theory. Well, oh, sorry. Okay.
Does that mean if I dye my hair like that, I'll suddenly be extremely good at PUBG Mobile?
No. If you're good at PUBG Mobile, you get the haircut. It's not you get the haircut and you get good. Like, I would have done that ages ago, you know, but no, that's...
okay.
Fortunately, that's not the way. Oh, man. Too many winks in one picture. Too much goodness. Too much white hair in one picture. I don't know. My feelings are overwhelmed right now. But this man is pointing at you because he's like, yeah, you fight me, you're done. You're dead.
Like,
and,
I can't help but feel that this is the kind of game where... you know, you just put one picture of Mythic and that's it. Just that's it. It speaks for itself. Just Mythic on screen, it doesn't do justice. And of course, again, to highlight the strength of Rise as a team, that great back end play from Mufasa, the sacrificial lamb, it was so good. It was so good, and allowed Rise to really set up for that end game, for that chicken dinner.
Yeah, I think this is the vengeance of Rise for like what 2 days ago when I inadvertently called them an NA team, and they were like, "How dare you? We're a Brazilian team. We're gonna show you with numbers right now." I'm like, okay, you're a Brazilian team. Okay, I get it. I understand now. I am sorry. It was a mistake. Okay. Oh man, but that was definitely not one mistake in this game coming out from Rise. Absolutely amazing from start to finish. But you know what? With that said, that's it for the first game of the day. Still got 4 more remaining. We're still going to be seeing more Rise. We're going to see more Mythic. And if you don't want to miss out on that, come back after the break.
Hello? Vous êtes bien chez Julia Fournier Rock Couture. Love is magic. Metaverse is amazing.
Well, hopefully, if just like Imperium, you had yourself a good little bowl of jelly, you finished eating it and you're ready to get yourself some popcorn and a good old drink for this next one, because this is going to be for sure another banger as we go back for the first time today and well, one of the last times actually in this America's Elite League, back to the grassy pastures of Erangel. Once again, my name is Maxman with Imperium to bring you the action once again, and man, I'm checking out Rise. You know, Rise also, we're looking at Mythic. There was the Gunslinger and the Grenade Master of PMGC West last season. Yeah, I want to see a back-to-back MVP in that tournament. You know what? I would like to see, because I think that if one player can make it happen right now, is Mythic for sure.
Yeah, Mythic can have a big impact, and it's a little bit of a shame, by the way, that Rise didn't perform as strongly in the earlier parts of the tournament, because they deserve to be kind of more heavily talked about. For example, in the end of that game 1. But with all due respect, until they are really in that fight for the top 3, which I don't believe they are, they just can't really be as heavily talked about, because that's a battle that we're looking at coming into a second game. VIVO Keed aren't playing, therefore once again Influence Rage will have that game in hand over the 2 teams below them. We will have a Alpha 7. They're going to be swinging out of the gates. What are they going to be able to show us in this game too?
Yeah, talking about that, Alpha 7 and all of Group A are going to be now participating in the second game. So it's going to be Alpha 7, Honored Souls, ESTORM, and the Chosen NA in this game. Group B are going to be out this time around. That means the VIVO, Keed, ATON, Esports, BULUC, CHABTAN, Black Dragons are going to be out of this one and taking a quick little breather before jumping back in game 3, which is going to be back on to Miramar. We have 3 Miramars today to our angles, so we'll better take it in the grassy pastures while we still can. Only 2 games remaining before we do end it on this map.
Oh damn!
Sad to say, but man, it's been by real fast.
That means we're ending the tournament on Miramar. I actually kind of enjoy it, although I get the kind of prestige of the final game of a tournament being on Arango. I think there's something nicely refreshing about ending a tournament on Miramar, so I really look forward to that. On a side note, just it came into my mind right there when you were talking about the maps. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. It's going to be fun. It's better than PMPL when at some point it literally ended on Sandhawk. I think that is something that I would not want to relive, like, ever. Especially Kalaris, if you don't want to avoid that as much as possible. There you go, playing path though, as you see it a little bit over to the more eastern side, and a phase 1 circle. Even though you might be thinking and looking at this like, oh yeah, this is a given, it's going to be mainland. I would tend to agree, but there was that question mark that makes you think, what if? And that's all I have to say. Yeah.
Yeah, the last time we had a kind of a military island circle, there was a lot of bottlenecking around the bridges of teams camping, teams holding on, teams trying to rotate in late again. Because that phase 1 is more heavily on the mainland, I don't think we're going to really see that happen, as LAZARUS going to be taking the fight against Alpha 7.
In terms of loot, this is absolute trash. Like, nobody's going to be fully looted up. I saw someone get himself an M16. That's going to be taking a spawn slot for a really good weapon like an M4 or a SCAR or an AKM. Yeah. So, going to be a little bit of a struggle here. He's going to have a PP Bison. Only has a tier 1 helmet also to protect himself with. Tier 1 helmet and tier 1 vest. Oh, Reaver got lucky, apparently. It's just not enough buildings and not enough spawn locations to get that. Oh, did you ever have a gun? I didn't even look. No. Oh, rip. Oh, that's a SCAR. Reaver has a SCAR.
No. Yeah, okay. He just picked it up.
Yeah, he has a SCAR. That's looking good. Shotgun on the other side, though, with also a handgun. Oh my god, the loot is trash! I feel so bad if you're on the side of LAZARUS right now, but they're full sending it. They go YOLO. It's some decent damage action on Tokario. They're going to be respectful of that position. Pushes back. But there's definitely going to be a big lack of utility, I think, this fight. Some smokes are going to be used. But I think the grenades, there were not too many that were available, so we're not seeing too many of those. Tokario peeks around, gets a lot of damage with that one burst. Behind him, because that's what gentlemen do. One nade right there would be so perfect, but unfortunately, she doesn't want to have one available. He sees him pushing out. Oh, Cario. And he, they're really trying. Oh my god, Cario, those reflexes were not human. And Mafusa gets it with a PP Bison, I believe, through the window. And LAZARUS now with their final play just going to be upstairs into the attic, trying to survive. I think he even had a molly right there. He threw something to try and buy some time. Beacon is right behind him, gets instantly shot with a another play comes out. Oh, but Cario with the M16 able to survive. Normally the M16 not the best weapon in early fights like this, but Cario makes it work out.
Oh my god, Jesus! Because that was a really important fight for Alpha 7, right? You think about them coming back into the lobby. If they had gone out very early once again, it's pretty much like they weren't playing in this game. But they come out on top. The thing is, Loops, they heard those shots around prison. They might be looking for a third party. Luckily, Alpha 7 are like, let's just take those kills, take those eliminations, and get the hell out of here. We're going to Impala. We're looting up. We're playing for the late game, baby. Loops, they might be hunting, but I don't think they're going to go too far looking for the fight. Oh, wait. They are? They are. Loops?
Okay. A little of a chase down, apparently, trying to go for a race. See how far. Yeah, Loop's also. Oh, sorry, Alpha 7 just about to breach the 200 elimination gap for themselves. So we'll see. But yeah, just zooming about. They want to find themselves a good position to loot up. That's the plan for them. Even if they have to go to Storbo or Kameshki, they'll do it. They'll get the loot and then they'll start moving the circle itself. And Revo, I hope, my good man, that you're not going to get any more eliminations for very obvious reasons. that is the best number. Very nice.
That's it. He's peaked. Anything past this is
He gets the MVP just for that.
lesser. Yeah, it's a lesser stat. Anything past that, and it's a lesser stat. So Revo, you're fine. You're good. You're good. Obviously, once again, we haven't started this game with a full lobby of players. Just kind of, you know, touch upon the elephant that's in the room. So technically, that phase one isn't really as hard to deal with for these players as initially expected. Because there's less players to play for a position, so there's more positions open. Simple as that, standard stuff. Now, we have seen many games, especially at the start, where we would see a lot of early game fights. So in 5-6 minute mark, we would honestly be down to like less than 40 players, right? So it's not like the teams haven't been used to it in this tournament exclusively, but in a normal full lobby, it would be a different story. You'd probably have 60 to 64 players left alive. So again, a lot more positions available inside this phase one, so less pressure to move into the circle earlier.
A little bit less pressure for sure. A lot more space to try and play around. I would like to see potentially a team go for Pachinki Hill. I think that is always a position I'm very redundant about when I mention it, because it's such a good position. If it's center, there's literally no bad reason to go for such a position, right? You can see it. Oh, we have replays? We have replays? I didn't know we had replays.
We do?
That's cool. We do, but apparently we do. I love it. Where were they before? I want to see more of these. This is good. This is good content. Oh.
Do you approve, Max?
I do approve. This has got the Maxman seal of approval. I agree.
Damn. That's gold standard approval right there, boys and girls. You get the Maxman seal of approval. Yeah. Life is complete. You've got
Good
the
on.
Xbox Achievement Award, right? Like,
imagine you have this one thing. Yeah. That's it. that's the point.
stick it on your resume and you'll get any job at all, you know? Skills. Maxman seal of approval.
Stamp.
Goals. Maxman seal of approval. Achievements.
Name.
Maxman seal of approval.
Seal of approval.
Name. Yeah, there you go. Occupation. Maxman seal of approval. That's it.
Where did you study? Maxman seal of approval.
Yeah,
Put it everywhere.
oh my God.
Like, yeah, he's the one. Oh my God, it's Jason Bourne. Oh my God.
Oh my lord. Oh my lord.
Seems like INCO Gaming had some issues with the bottlenecks, as you mentioned earlier, right? They were happening on the two bridges. So like, you know what? Instead of just having one bottleneck, how about two bottlenecks? Yes, let's go for 2 to split. Which I'm not against right now. They're just trying to get information, and I think that the game plan, at least with that type of position from INCO, is just we scout both bridges. If we see one team defending one and the other one's free, we're just going to be one of the team that has no team being present gatekeeping you. That's the game plan, I think, for INCO Gaming. So, not against it, and they're taking a more passive approach, but you've got to be careful because you know Team QUESO loves, and I mean loves, the lighthouse position on the Western Bridge. So, I think that might be the bridge there. If I were INCO, I would try and avoid like play because it is the one where we saw a lot more action happen in the past.
Yeah, and that's what I overall love about how INCO had this 2 to split, because they haven't put all their eggs in one basket, so they can quite easily shift over on towards the eastern bridge into the eastern side of the circle. As it happens, phase 2 pops up. It is going to be a mainland finish. I really do believe Pier Hill is an absolutely wonderful place to hold on to. I'm going to echo what you said earlier. Pachinki Hill as well is a great spot to move into because there's a big cluster of teams on that northern side of the circle, northeastern as well.
No, Imperium, no. It is not a great spot. It is the best spot in the circle. Hell yeah, let's go. Pachinki Hill Hype. Okay, I'm going. I feel like a YouTuber right now, but... Yeah, top 10 reasons why you should go to Pachinki Hill. You won't believe number 7. Okay, I'm really going the entire way. Go show I did do YouTube for like 2 years, we'll see. Yeah, Loomstone. Oh, okay, I thought for a second there, but Toiko able to actually get it, and there you have it.
Okay.
I love this.
Okay.
I hate this, but I love this so much. There comes out from Linebete. That's it. That's going to be Orion. Going to be taken down instantly. And it's weird. And you mentioned it earlier, right, Imperium? We're down to already 12 teams, only 47 players. There's a lot of space. And the fact that we already have fights happening in phase 2, I find that a little bit, I don't know if I would say alarming, but I might just say alarming.
You say alarming, I say alarming. I don't know if that's even a word, but Alpha 7, they've Revo knocked down. Are going to respond quite efficiently as Delta Stars. They've bitten off possibly more than they can chew, but Elite moves out of the vehicle. This is going to get a second knock, a third knock come through. Creo, now the final player standing for Alpha 7.
Oh man, Illy actually got the shot right underneath the car to get an extra knock, and there you go. That's going to be Fraggers going a little bit further and wide. Now for 7, overwhelmed, taken down. Influence Rage still alive in the game, by the way, just saying.
Damn.
So this could be the big ringer, the big difference maker in the overall rankings.
It's great for Vivo Kid as well, because even though they're not playing in this game, that's still only 3 points that Alpha 7 have gained against them, right? So if you look at the first game where Alpha 7 weren't playing, Vivo Key got 9 points. This game, Alpha 7 had gotten 3. Therefore, that difference is Vivo come out of the first 2 games with a +6 difference, at least on Alpha 7 alone. We can't allow the variable for Influence Rage to come into play yet, because they do have still that game that they haven't played, so it's going to be really interesting to see how that plays through. For now, this game continues on and rise off the back of a beautiful game. Look for an engagement onto INTZ.
Not sure what happened there with Mufasa, if he took shots or not. He just changed weapons before shooting, but you know what, fair enough, they get the knock, that's all that really counts. And Rise just no fear, just fights every single time. But Mythic, once again, this is the player that's going to be real chappy to knock down Enthusto, spotted away from a distance by a player that's still in the compound down below. Rise are very hesitant now. They're like somewhat stuck midway on this push and now thinking, how the hell do we push this position? Do we commit? Do we heal off and leave? I think leaving would be the best plan. Nunes, you are lucky as hell. Sure, Mythic didn't have the same amount of luck, but at least Nunes will make it out alive. Hopefully, makes it over to the building. Will be able to heal off with that first aid kit. Well, Gary X gets 6 shots per INTZ. Will remain the kings of the mountain for now.
I appreciate Rise's engagement. It really wasn't bad, but I have to credit, and I haven't really credited that much because they haven't shown a lot of the time. INCO's spread and angles were really good, and in situations in the past where they haven't really played as a team, that was some great teamwork from INCO, so well done.
Well done so far, though. Rise spotted out by Influence Rage. Here we have it. Gary X, one more bullet, and he gets taken down. Rise. Too much goodness in that last gaming Imperium. Too much goodness, so got to take an L every once in a while, and that's going to be bringing them back to planet Earth, apparently. So now we're down to 10 teams already, 37 players, and some teams are already in a good spot. It's going to be ESTORM just looking really good, same as INTZ. And Nova are rotating, looking for information on good positions to play from. I think that these are going to be our 3 teams to have a very clear opportunity to make it very far in this game. Of course, depending on where the next phase goes. But in terms of trying to set themselves up on phase 3 and onwards, I think these are the 3 teams, ESTORM, INTZ, and Nova. They're looking pretty swell at the start of this one.
Don't totally agree, but also don't disregard Team QUESO. Yeah, they're on the southern edge, but they do have the high ground of Ferropier Hill, and Nitsu is in the compound down below. He's able to get onto the roof of the buildings if he wants to, if he should so see fit, and he's able to get a lot of information deeper into the central part of the circle. So coming into phase 4, I think Team QUESO have a lot of rotational potential and a lot of exit potential from that southern position inside the circle, so we'll have to wait and see how they deal with it.
Nice little spray from QZ, looking for the double whammy, but not going to be able to go the entire way just yet. As you mentioned, I do really appreciate the Longwood position of Team QUESO. A lot of extra information going to be given to them in the fields, and they're going to be actually setting themselves with Nitsu on the forefront in the fields itself. That's good to see. Koi, though, breached up. INCO Gaming. Man, they are getting a flawless breach. 2 knocks in a matter of seconds. Only QZ and Kindness are going to remain. And QZ, despite trying to serve as that off-angle player, is not really able to bring too much to the table. And now Kindness and QZ have to think they want to leave and escape from the situation, but I don't think that's going to be really allowed. He's going to go for the adrenaline shot because he knows that he's going to be taking a few shots, taking a few bullets, a few nades. But there you go, peeks around the side while with having a nade in hand, and there's no survival for you. QZ is there, peeks through the smoke, gets a little bit of damage done, but the smoke dissipates. There's no survival. Nova out in 10th position.
That was good by INCO, but also a bit of a throw for Nova. As far as I know, they opened that engagement with a knock onto one of the INCO players. Arguably, ZFAM was the one that made probably the biggest mistake. He looked to cook up a nade, and then, it wasn't like a really big personal mistake, but a little bit of bad luck on the timing and just maybe not as quick reactions meant that he got caught out with his pants down, and then overall the setup for Nova wasn't really the best. That off-angle player, you kind of mentioned it, that off-angle really isn't the best because it doesn't provide that much hard cover, and it's still quite linear to the rest of your team, so it's really more of just a pure supporting position on a team pushing in, not a team looking to defend a compound.
Yeah, because he was still very vulnerable to shots, right? I think he was a little bit higher up on the hilltop. Yeah. Maybe there was a chance of that position being even more valuable, but you know what? It's just not meant to be for Nova, apparently, but that is fine.
Yeah, for sure.
Good game after good game like they did yesterday. That is A-okay. Still looking pretty good when it comes to that top 5 position. Pretty hard to push out of that slot. Though, Circle did move away into the field position right up north of Longwood, so Team QUESO already have a lot of scouting already done beforehand, so they can start sending their players in, ready in there, bye-bye in the compound down south. So, in terms of terrain control, Team QUESO are looking pretty Gucci so far. Other than that, some teams like Loops, Influence Rage, Honored Souls, Delta Stars, INCO Gaming need to initiate their push into the circle itself because they are not good at good positions. Literally every single compound has now occupied Imperium, so all you got to try and play for a field position, or you got to try and play for compound and breach it, and I think that is not a decision that a lot of teams would like to go for, but you don't have many choices here.
I don't really like the fact that INCZ are spending what looks like arguably too much time looking in the direction of ESTORM. One, not only peeking for too long in and out of those windows puts you at the risk of getting one player knocked, you need to really look and prioritize defending behind you. I don't see them being ready for a Loop's crash with the way they're looking in the direction of ESTORM. And like I said, the risk of getting a player knocked, I'm not saying the Loops are going to absolutely know that, but if timing goes against them, if they get a player knocked and Loops push at the same time, they're absolutely screwed beyond belief.
Yeah, screwed is definitely going to be the word that I think is going to be ringing back for a lot of these teams actually as they try and move in. Law jumping down, getting himself into a good position, going to put the room all around him. That was a One Piece reference, but I just had to explain Imperium in case you didn't get it. It's fine. It's cool. We'll get it.
I didn't get it, but I always appreciate your anime references. I do.
I'll teach you. I'll show you videos. We'll do like a One Piece marathon. I mean, maybe not. It's got like 1,000+ episodes, so maybe not the best.
Yeah, please.
I
have a girlfriend. I have a, like I have to.
You know, if you want, we can do a marathon. It's fine. Yes, it's cool. No problem on that side, though. We're going to see if this next circle is going to be a big problem for the teams, which I think there's a big chance of that happening. A lot of fields in play, and the hilltops might be just taken out of the equation. No, actually, the circle's going to go right there, and I remember this circle. This is the exact circle where we had that 20-kill bomb from Alpha 7, but Alpha 7 not here, so get wrecked, scrub.
Jesus, okay. Jesus. Shade being thrown at Alpha 7 by Maxon in this moment. Yeah, okay, fair play. Get wrecked, scrubs indeed. It really did. It kind of shocked me a little bit. Well, I get it. Influence Rage, of the 4 eliminations so far, they do have a short distance with Law hovering on the very northern edge of the circle. They could come in behind ESTORM and get a bit of a surprising engagement, or wait in the shadows for a team to crash in onto ESTORM and then third party. So there's really a couple of options that Influence Rage have in the palm of their hands.
Yeah, though we are looking still at Lou Harden of Delta Stars, which is the exact position where Carrillo got themselves such a dominant performance last time with those 20 eliminations. So Lou Harden could pull a Carrillo right now, okay? It's just got to be very careful. INCO Gaming's got to be very aware of their surroundings. If they spot a car, if they spot a smoke or build utility, they need to instantly put their focus on Lou Harden of Delta Stars to make sure he cannot be the thorn in their side. Though, Thea's still going for the spray down onto Team QUESO. Team QUESO had so much information. They made a pretty good play, but unfortunately that position in particular is so hard to hold on to when so many teams like INTZ, like Loops are still pushing in your vicinity. So not an easy one. As INCO Gaming, though, trying to defend the western side, taking a fight versus now Influence Rage. We did lose the final player of Delta Stars, by the way, so that's them out of the game. There's only 5 teams now remain. As Team QUESO take the L, eliminated in 6, but Influence Rage, there you go, get chased down by INCO. It's 1, it's 2, it's 3 down for the count, and only 1 remains. It's going to be Law just gunning for the more northern edge, potentially, because Law knows this is a fight that he is not willing to take to the very end.
I get it, but I don't like how Influence Rage pushed onto the hill that late into the circle. They should have done it right when phase 5 shifted, whereas they hovered around, they waited too long, and they paid the ultimate price. They had it done earlier, they probably would have been able to gain the elevated control ahead of INCO Gaming. But once again, some good team play from INCO. I really haven't seen it enough in this tournament, and I'm glad we're seeing it on the final day as they pick up the last player of Influence Rage.
Yeah, INCO Gaming, let's not forget, in this American Elites League, they got themselves the very first chicken dinner of the entire tournament. Would be very good if they could bookend it with another chicken dinner. Would be a great... Well, actually, are they even playing the last game? Let me check. They are playing. Okay, so I'm not saying an absolute bunch of nonsense, which is good. Okay, I'm pretty happy about that. That doesn't happen very often. Very good, very good, very good. So Chief gave himself a nice little molly. ESTORM still trying to defend their position, but the circle moves away onto the field position. A little bit on a downward slope, so not too fun to have a slope finish. While Loops now going to be pinched between both INTZ and INCO. If Loops survive this, that would be a huge win for them in this game.
I find it intriguing that nobody did crash onto ESTORM's compound in the previous circle, by the way, so they've been given a little bit of freedom to play around on those buildings to buildings and grab the information required to push into the northern edge of the circle. Loops trying to defend for all their worth as Nembede is knocked down. INTZ are putting a lot of pressure the southeastern side right behind them.
Oh, Garadozin get himself into the buggy. Oh, how the hell did he spot Cyrilex right there? Gee, oh, okay, he got himself to the car, got the third-person perspective above the smoke. He's even looking for Ren right now. Oh, good idea. Nice try, Garadozin, but the shot's not quite able to connect for yet. And ESTORM really taking their merry time to start moving away, but here you go, the timer is now done. The Blues are start to push in, so they have no real option in the matter here, Imperium, unless they want to go for a heal-off strat, if they have the meds, which could be viable in ESTORM's situation. Send 2 players forward, get the elimination, keeping 1 player to heal off to hopefully get yourself into a top 3, if not a top 2. Because you know that in this type of circle, fights are going to end pretty fast, but no, they're going to send the entire team forward. Ronaldinho and Walls going to drone up onto Fierce position. Now it's going to be an all-out war. Loops, though, trying to send himself a player forward. Garadozin not going to go any further. He's going to be stopped by the trusty M249 of Golden. And INCO still trying to eke forward and get more information by the second.
I love the timing of the push out of the compound by ESTORM. I think it's well timed. Maybe Wall's going a little bit too deep, but I once again appreciate that they are trying to at least do something with the timing of their push. INTZ down to 1 player. INCO has a player knocked. The revive might be played out. This is anybody's game, really. This is one game that I can't really predict who's going to come out on top out of these 4 teams.
Could be Ren if they forget about him. If Ninibitis gets taken out, literally the information on Ren's position is lost to the Netherrealm. So we'll see if ESTORM can maybe make that happen. Ren taking a few shots. Okay, now they are definitely aware of his position. A lot of eyes going to be riven onto Ren to make sure that he cannot escape from that buggy death trap. Still teams are moving in, and there's going to be that big snake factor, right? Imperium is going to be happening very soon. Gonna have some players of INCO already sneaking forward. That's gonna be Golden in particular. Gonna have Wolves already inside the fields in that smoke. Fear in the background waiting for maybe a good little off angle to play around. They're just waiting for the next phase of phase 7, and it goes over to the west, to the east, into the fields. So INCO in particular here are in a world of trouble.
They are, but they have the full squad up. To me, they have the body advantage. I see where the pressure lies of having to push in between both Loops and ESTORM. The way INCO are playing, I see it happening.
Maybe. We'll see if they can answer your demand here. Fear still in the car in the background, not willing to move. Which I'm surprised by. I thought he would try and maybe create a little bit of a makeshift wall in front of Walls. That was not even intentional. But I'm going to go for it. Here you go, though. That's one knock. INCO, they know this is their great opportunity to go for the breach, though. They're going to be sending one player all around onto a sneaky off angle. But can he survive it, though? Oh, Ren's going to get involved. That's one great knock onto Chief of Loops. And Ren back into snaking mode. And now that Loops are out of the game Imperium in 4th, a lot of information has been lost, and Ren can start sneaking his way forward and hopefully snatch a few eliminations here and there.
I love that INCO knew that Loops had been there for quite a while, so they played the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. They pushed on Loops, they won the fight.
On INCO, I don't think that is big enough of a split, though. I'd like to see a little bit more spread from these guys, otherwise ESTORM could have the better of you. And especially them working with Ren, because it's like an unofficial alliance right now. All the focus is on INCO, while War's just scouting up there. Where's Fear? I was about to say, there you go, a little bit further behind. This is a very, very slow finish here. Oh, peeks out. Ren, that's what you want to see. That's going to help out, especially the side of ESTORM, but now he's spotted away, takes one shot. He's down to about 1/5 HP, and he's getting peeked around the side, and that's it for INTZ, eliminated in 3rd. With that one knock, he was able to get on Becker, one of the top fraggers in the tournament, by the way. Could allow ESTORM to gain a little bit more space, crawl forward, and get nade range. But no, that is not going to be allowed, as Ronaldinho is going to... no. Oh, yes! Oh, I thought it was going to happen for a second, but he gets it done to the very bitter end. Another trade-off. It's going to be down to a 2v2 Imperium. Golden not allowed to go for the heal-off on his teammate. The nade is close, but not going to be able to actually get the knock onto Golden. And now he's going to be going for that first aid, but I'm seeing the nade in hand for Fear. A little bit too short, but the attempt was there.
Ronaldinho scales back. Potential revive being played out by Walls. I honestly don't agree with it. A little bit disappointed with how passive and really unopportunistic ESTORM have been in these last 10 minutes as you come into this final fight. INCO, to me, they have control.
Yeah, especially with, again, access to that crate. That's huge. One off angle is going to be lost in the name of V22K. I speak too soon. V2 gets away with absolute murder right there. We'll see if he can try and heal off. If he has a first aid kit, he could get himself back into a very healthy position, but I don't think he has. Otherwise, he would have potentially already popped it. Heal off, though, did come to fruition for ESTORM, so still we're in a 4v3 situation. There you go, peeks around. He's got himself the Grows. The two didn't even know that. Golden means business right now. Ronaldinho's going to be out of the game. 17 elimination. Could be looking for the big old 19. Huge way to start off game 2 here for them. The off angles, there we go. That's what I wanted to see. More off angles from INCO. But boom comes the dynamite, and that's going to be Wolves picking up one. Almost get himself the double back-to-back. The V2K, the shots are able to actually get the knock at the very end. Wolves trying to get job done once more, and they peek around, they push it, and INCO Gaming take control at the end and secure himself the second chicken dinner of the day with 19 eliminations to count for it.
Yeah, wonderfully deserved chicken dinner from INCO. I said that they were playing so well as a team at the very start of the game. You look at the fight on Rise, it was well coordinated, that off angle, they had control of that Pachinki Hill. I mean, it wasn't that like center Pachinki Hill position that they held onto. I think it was on phase 2 or phase 3, but it was that kind of southwestern hillside, and they played from that. They moved in, they then sent them towards a western hillside earlier than Influence Rage, and they were able to dominate that hillside area, and they took their time with loops. They played with loops for a bit. They actually allowed loops to do a little bit of work for them, and then when the circle shifted away and they had to push in the direction of loops, by God did they do it quickly, swiftly, and it was easy peasy from there. Overall, it was easy peasy, mainly down to ESTORM, unfortunately not having just not having the will to really go for a risky play and get a third-party opportunity.
Yeah, that crate was so important for Golding to get the information. Just put the pings down if he wants for his team, and then just go for the sprays. With that Groza, it just makes it so hard to deal with. But there you have it. That's our second game already in the bag, and 34 eliminations. That's 2 games back-to-back where a team gets 19 eliminations plus the chicken dinner. So we're having some big bangers of a series already right now with INCO Gaming plus also Rise last game. Loops, though, able to get himself a few extra points here. Well, quite a few points actually on top of that. 17, and ESTORM gave himself 15. So it really seems like ESTORM are feeling a lot more comfortable. Them and ATON in particular has been the 2 teams that I think yesterday and today have been the big step up of the lobby. So good on ESTORM to be able to get himself 3 eliminations and 12 placement points. They had the best position in the circle for a big portion of that game. They're right in the compound, just to the west of Pachinki Hill. And they tried to put some hurt on a lot of the teams around them. Decided to push out when they had the opportunity. I want to see this ESTORM a bit more, because I think the ESTORM is a team that has shown potential since day one, but has had some up and down tendencies, which is a really big issue. But ESTORM is a team that can go really far if they can just remain consistent and consistently play at peak performance.
More importantly, though, Influence Rage, it wasn't the best game for them, but still another double-digit result. You add that to the fact that Alpha 7 only got 4 points. That's a good cushion of points being created from Influence Rage coming into that all-important final game in which Influence Rage will not be participating in. Of course, VIVO Kid, we talked about it, they were not playing in this game, so it was always going to be a 100% bonus for Influence Rage. But 18 points in the first game, 11 points in the second game. You've added to what I've already talked about in the consistency of 3 games in a row from Influence Rage. The question is it going to be enough coming into that final game? Is that cushion really going to be there to shut Alpha 7 and VIVO Key down?
Yeah, though one team for you, it was not quite enough this game. I mean, not quite enough by a pretty big margin. Also, it was Nova, right? The team that we thought, okay, they have a chance to breach into the top 3.
Yeah.
I thought this game in particular, they could be so good in their position, but they decided to commit to the western side and push the western side. That is a play that I was not a huge fan of, and there was QC's position also into the fight. It was all over the place, I think, for Nova, so maybe you've got to try and restructure a little bit how those fights actually go down. Because now we're going to be looking at the stats for INCO. 19 eliminations, 37 smokes, 46 nades. Now that it must be a utility record in an individual game. 46 grenades in one game? I have never seen that amount before. Average. That is absolutely insane.
Did you know that's an average of over 11 nades per player? Over 11 nades per player average in that single game. Like, I would say comfortably each player would have, to begin with, probably 3 to 4, maybe 5. So you think throughout that game, and it makes sense when you look at the amount of fights they took and how much control and how much coordination the team had. It does make sense, because as they would eliminate a team, eliminate players, they pick up their utility, they pick up their nades, and most of the fights they took were won pretty swiftly. So they weren't really using that many, and they weren't really allowing the opponents to use their own utility as heavily. So it makes sense, but that number is pretty big.
Yeah, Romulo's in though, going to be the MVP of this game with his 8 elimination. And look at the hair, Imperium. He's not there just yet, but he's getting there. No, he started dying a little bit. Start of his adventure, you know. We'll see how far he can go as a pro, but yeah.
Oh my God.
It's actually almost true. It's actually interesting strategy. We'll have to compare and see who players have white hair.
I love the theories we have of the hair and the glasses. Those are that's all our theories are work on based on top players. If you have glasses and you have blonde hair, that's it. That's it. You've peaked. You've made it. You've done it. Job done.
Yeah. Imagine we get one, because Adrian doesn't have white hair, right? If he, oh man, if he did.
No.
Imagine a,
Oh my god.
oh my god, too much power, too much power. Cannot even compute how much power that might even be and bring to the battlegrounds. We'll have to see though. V2K are going to be top healing on this game for INCO. But you know what? They were still trying to tank the fights they were taking. As you said, right, the amount of fights they took was absolutely nuts. He gave himself 19 eliminations throughout this game. So you're definitely going to have to heal off the amount. And also Becca going to be up there with the top distance. I was about to say, are we done? Okay, guess not. We're going to be right back for our third game. It's going to be on Miramar right after this break. So we'll see you in a bit.
Hello? Vous êtes bien chez Julien Fournier Rock Control. Love is magic. Metaverse is amazing.
We're about halfway done here for Day 8 of the Americas Elite League Season 3, and the level of competition and action is going to get as tough as it can be in the next 3 games to go. My name is Maxman, still going to be here to bring you these games. Pretty good so far, and going to be with me, of course, Imperium once more with his lumberjack top. He's ready to chop down some trees and chop down some of this action. I don't know what that means, but it probably means something. I don't know. Yeah, exactly like that, like he's doing it.
Yep.
But yeah, last chicken dinner coming out from INCO Gaming. But coming into the next one, we're going to have a little change of groups, of course, as we usually do. That means Group C, INCO Gaming, Loops, Rise, and Fierce Gaming not in this one. So Rise not being here, and INCO Gaming 2, the 2 teams that got chicken dinner so far, not being here.
Yeah.
Could be an opportunity for other teams to finally get themselves some chicken dinners and actually start climbing up in the rankings on this last day.
Plus, this is the first game today. We have the top 3 teams playing at the same time. And like you said, with Rise and INCO, the 2 teams who have won both games today, this could be a bit of a crazy game. And it really could be the shaping of the winning team, right?
Yeah.
I could arguably say that if VIVO Key, Influence Rage, or Alpha 7, if they win this 3rd game, I know there will still be 2 more games, but that could be this could be overall the game-winning game per se. Because the final game, of course, Influence Rage not playing, as we've already alluded to. The 4th game is going to have all 3 teams, but again, this first game of the day in which all 3 teams are playing, oh man, I'm very, very excited to see who wins. Very, very excited.
I feel we got very close yesterday during a game where our top 3 were going to be, you know, Alpha 7, VIVO Keyed, and Influence Rage. We were so close, but I think that one of the 3 teams died in 4th, so we didn't quite get there. But they all 3 of them made it in the same game in the top 5, which is absolutely insane. But this time, as you saw, is Group C not playing. So once again, that is INCO Gaming, Loops, Rise, and Furious Gaming out of this one. This is going to be our 2nd Miramar of the day. We're going to have one more Miramar to close off the day, but after this game is also going to be a Wrangle, our last Wrangle. So it's getting to a close, surely but surely. Imperium, you can see the timer right there. In 1 minute, we will be jumping into game number 3. We're almost at the halfway point here for the day, before we see who's going to be able to get himself a very big portion of that $10,000 prize pool here for the 3rd season of America's Elite League. Yeah, we keep repeating this thing every single time because it's true. It's really intense now for a lot of these teams, but if you're at the bottom, we want to see them try things out, right? And we saw some of the teams try things out, and like ESTORM, for example, had himself a very strong result, a team that's been very silent a big portion of this tournament, but they're showing good moments towards these last few days. I just hope they could have started off in that same manner at the start of the tournament.
Yeah, exactly. It would have been nice to see, and it would have made that kind of fight for the top just a little bit closer, a little bit tighter. It is what it is. Miramar is next on the menu. And it's going to be obviously hotty, sweaty, hotty. Well, okay, hot, sweaty, and just hotty? Kind of yeah, hotty. I don't Thanks. Know. Yeah. Okay. No comment. Oh. No comment. No comment. As the playing path is
Hey, you said your girlfriend's not watching the stream, right? Okay, we can be wild on stream.
Yeah, but just, we have to be safe for work. And if I start calling you hottie, then I might get a little bit ahead of myself.
Safe for work? Wait, are people watching us? I didn't sign up for this. What's this about? I don't know. What's this? The people on the internet watching us right now? What is going on? Yeah, we'll see. Okay, I'll take the compliment. Even if it was not meant for me, I'll take it. Thank you very much, Imperium. Playing path, though, coming up from the northern western side of Australia Park, Ruins, Cabrera. More to the central southern side of the map, just passing by areas like Chumacera. So definitely a lot better than what we saw in the first Miramars, not compared to the full southern playing path. This one is going to be a lot healthier for a lot of these teams. Though the big split of teams we used to have in Tierra Bronca, Torreo Mara positions is not going to be really possible unless you go for a very, very stretched out drop, which I think might be the case for one team. ESTORM definitely going in that kind of position, currently aiming towards water treatment. We'll see if they want to go a little bit further out of their way.
Yeah.
But VIVO Keyed, for the usual power grid position, they have a great amount of success, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Man, of course, only 12 teams playing in this 3rd game of the day, so we'll do our best to make it as interesting, exciting, as entertaining as possible. As of course, the phase 1 has popped up. It's complimentary big time to the play path. Is it weird that this day feels like the one day in which most of the kind of phase 1 circles have complemented the playing path the most, and we've just seen a bit of consistency in that regard, whereas other days, other circles on phase 1 have been just kicked in the face comparative to the playing path. I don't know what any of it means, but I just thought it's a good observation.
I mean, it is. It's just very fair circles. There's no big issue. I mean, we say that the first game was literally hard shift after hard shift after hard shift. So circles like these might just be a blessing at the start, but become very quickly a nightmare in disguise. So you just want to be careful and not take things for granted, because that is where things could get a little bit spicy to deal with, I would say. Los Leones, the usual fight is going to be happening between ATON and also the side of Black Dragons currently. Our pod zone, no hot drop, is only going to be Alpha 7. So yeah, we're dealing with the usual. Also, Loop's not being in this game. Nova went back to Minis Generalis, so no issue on that end. So yeah, no teams are going to be dying early game, which is good to see.
So, Alpha 7, Vivo Kid, Influence Rage. You highlighted Vivo Key's 4-man split dropping around the power grid area. Influence Rage are in Hacienda del Patron, and Alpha 7 are in El Pozo. So they're all on the same half of the circle. They're all within the same vicinity when you look at the pathing lines into a good phase 1 position, right? Yeah, okay, Influence Rage could opt to go away from Vivo Key and let's say go through the graveyard roadside, but I don't expect that to necessarily be the case. They don't have to move deeply into the circle from where they are right now, but I don't think they should stay in San Martin for the whole of phase 1.
Yeah, definitely not. I think that you can start scouting even to the... I would personally go to the western side of La Bandita, you know, to the position next to the road as a good little overview. I used to call it the Nova warehouse, where Nova, not the NA team, sorry, the Chinese team are just super, super strong when it comes down to that position.
Do good Nova
I think that could be a good option. Whoa. And he said I was harsh earlier for my comment. What the hell?
I joke.
That is not a joke, Imperium. I clip that. I'm sending that to HR. We'll see how it's going. We'll see what they have to say about that.
Anyway, go on. Don't expose me, Max. Don't expose me. Okay.
I ain't done nothing yet.
Okay, don't expose me. By the way, the overall standings, the updated overall standings are to the right of your screen. So as of right now, Influence Rage have a 26-point gap over Alpha 7 and a 33-point gap over Vivo Key. That's a pretty decent cushion with 2 more games to go for Influence Rage to increase that cushion before they aren't playing in the final game. I consider it currently, right now, Influence Rage's tournament to kind of lose in that regard. That's probably the healthiest lead they've had so far in this tournament.
Yeah, but after you look at Alpha 7, they got himself, they can get himself some 20-kill games, you know. They can definitely bring it back if needed, so... It's not a lead that keeps you safe from an Alpha 7 or from a Vivo Key, but it is one that definitely allows you to build up in either a bigger lead. If, for example, this game or the next game, they have some really good results, and if they can even outperform both Alpha 7 and Vivo Key in both scenarios, then they'll definitely 100% set up for success. But right now, the lead is not big enough for them to kick up their feet and be like, yeah, we got the win, we got the $1,400, let's go right to the bank. No, it's a little bit too soon for that. Just make sure that you get yourself at least a good result, a decent average result. If even possible, get yourself a chicken dinner or a top 3 while Alpha 7 and Vivo Key are out of the game. That would be the best option currently available for Influence Rage to make 100% sure they do not have to bite their fingers at the end of today. Definitely. They can actually have a proper manicure afterwards. Yeah.
Suppose I just look at that lead as softening the fear that I had of Game 1 not securing the chicken dinner, Game 2 only getting 11 points. I think that's where I think it softens that fear for the time being. They can afford, in my opinion, bar what you mentioned about Alpha 7 getting a massive 20 elimination game, getting massive 30+ point games. I think it allows for Influence Rage to continue on the consistent streak of games above 10 points, games in the 10 to 15 point mark, and they should still be comfortable with 2 more games to go for themselves. We'll have to wait and see as Team QUESO hanging around the Valdemar hillside up towards the northern edge. I don't know if it's the same for you, but the feed is kind of frozen for me, but the game is continuing on. An Alpha 7 are on the Ledrolera Hill to the west, so I look at Team QUESO and Alpha 7, 2 very good positions in this phase 1.
Yeah, pretty good position to hold on to, enjoying it pretty much so far. ESTORM is going to be looking to move in, same for Delta Stars, so we're good. So just so you guys are aware, we do have the map feed on the side, so we're going to try our best to radio cast and explain in very intricate detail as to what's happening. Hopefully things are good. VIVO Keat still remaining, by the way, on the power grid position. So they got a really good scout position to get information from. Now we're going to be waiting for that phase 2 circle to see how things are going to go. And we're back to our beautiful faces. You know what? Why not? Actually, yeah, probably not. You guys probably don't want that. But you're going to have to deal with it. You have no choice in the matter. But so far, very good start of the game for a lot of these teams, right? Very passive LC. But I hear we're going back in a game. And we're back in play, boys. Let's go.
God, so happy the chat didn't have to deal with seeing our faces in the middle of the game for too long.
It's a jump scare.
Yeah. Oh God, remember those? Oh God, the jump scene where you have the video of about 20 seconds of peaceful music and a car driving off into the distance, and then a really scary witch face would pop up. Those are the classic Facebook videos. Back in the day. Back in the day.
Okay. I don't know if you've ever played it. You got that game, right, where it's like a labyrinth, and you have a dot that is basically your like cursor.
Yeah.
And you can move it, and it would put jump scares in the middle of it, and it would to get you to miss and like hit the wall, so you would lose.
No, I'm so bad at playing horror movies. Like I would always only ever watch my brother play horror. Sorry, horror games. Apologies. I would only ever watch my brother play horror games. I'd never be able to play them myself. I'd just get too scared.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. Like I cannot.
Yeah.
I cannot watch horror movies or play horror games. I don't know. It's just not in me. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
My little heart is too frail for that. But hey, if you like yourself horror movies, good on you. You're real tough guy, aren't you? Yeah. We'll see though where phase 2's gonna go. It's gonna jump scare anyone? Not really. Not too big a jump scare. It's good.
I still think it continues to leave both Team QUESO and Alpha 7 in good positions. I would like to see Alpha 7 maybe send one player over to the very northern edge of the Drolera Hill, above where Team QUESO are, right around where the R and the A is on the text. I think that would be a good anchor point position, because there's a little bit of stickiness to where they are so west on the circle, but they are in elevated position, so they're able to get information if a team does get too close to where they maybe need to go on phase 3. So it's something to think about, as Nova do lose a player in the elimination feed, I believe, at the hands of Honored Souls. A 3-way fight going on as VIVO Keat Adrian picks up a knock on the ESTORM.
Weird rotate from ESTORM, not gonna lie. Not sure as to why that one player just went that direction. So yeah, the 3 other players of ESTORM just gonna go a little bit further, a little bit wider on the western side of that position where VIVO Keat are currently playing. Just making sure that they are going to be safe entering this. Though Dead Center, we're going to have a little bit of action is going to be happening. It's going to be Delta Stars taking the fight. Though another piece of action is happening over to the east, and that's going to be Nova fighting versus Honored Souls. So teams are already clashing early on, very unfortunately. Unlucky rotations for some of these guys. Nova Esports going to be suffering once again. One more knock. That's going to be Zifan. Kindness was instantly flushed away. So Koi and QZ are going to be the sole survivors for Nova. Let's see how far they can go.
Both VIVO Keat and Influence Rage hold on to the kind of Picado / Power Grid hillside. In the northern part of the circle, high ground. Kowalski of Influence Rage is a little bit further down the hill in preparation for the phase 4 shift. Lovely shots being thrown up by Delta Stars as they try and hold on to his fight against BULUC CHABTAN in the more centralized area of the circle. Fraggers does get a lovely knock.
Lovely jubbly. Oh man, I feel like I'm back in the UK by saying that. I don't know. That's, why did I say that? That's like my granddad who says that. What the hell? That's so weird. Oh man.
Would you like some cucumber sandwiches there, Maxon?
Oh, or some fairy cakes also. I'll take those. Oh, those are nice. I don't know if you used to call them like that.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm hungry now. What? I do this to myself. I like talk about food on the broadcast when I have not eaten literally all day. And I'm into self-harm apparently. I didn't know that. God damn. We'll see how it goes. QZ though, lucky enough, has a little bit of an angle onto Nino. Can he pop the car? Gets a little bit of damage, but gets traded away. Better off maybe just leaving that fight entirely. You're the only one player remaining for the team. Just leave it go. I'm waiting for the next circle to go, Imperium, and I can tell you the next circle spoiler, might be a little bit rough.
Nova QZ, like last player standing, and one thing that I didn't really talk about, because obviously the focus when I saw the leaderboards or the current standings into this game was the top 3, but Nova dropped out from 4th. Rise have overtaken them now. There's only a 3-point difference there, but to be honest, like I look at this and go, Nova, you need to really clean it up. You only have one more game after this. So stop Rise from taking over that 4th place.
Yeah, that's going to be the game plan, but it's easier said than done, of course, because Rise are a threat to be reckoned with. Elite, a little bit of a step up today. I enjoy what he's been able to bring to the table. With Fraggers, both of them has been able to do some really good things throughout the day, but unfortunately, Elite only has himself 2 boosters remaining, so it's going to be real tough for him to actually take that fight without having a proper first aid or proper amount of bandages. So I think we might be looking at the end of that start. They do not really have the resources to take that fight, and that's it. 1 nade up to Lua, a hard in 1 push of the Fraggers. And Elite is the sole survivor of the team, trying to pick up some speed. Can he get away though? Literally 1 bullet is all they need. He gets down the terrain a little bit further, but that 1 bullet connects, and that's it for Delta Stars. They take the L. They are out in 12th place. There's only 1 placement point to count for.
I was really hoping he'd be able to get out of there, but they were just a little bit too quick for them. BULUC CHABTAN able to hold things out. The circle has shifted over to the eastern side on phase 3, by the way. Didn't really highlight it too much, but VIVO had a little bit of a longer entry point into the circle compared to Influence Rage, but they are both on the northern side, while Alpha 7, they're going for a big deep rotation from the very west down to the south and hanging into the southern edge of the circle. Good rotation, Alpha 7.
Yeah, loving it from Alpha 7. It's a very long process to get in that position, but it's so worth it, right? If you get yourself in a position, which I'm looking at right now, which is a little bit over to the eastern side of Minas del Val, that would be so good for them. And if the next circles also come in a little bit further down south, they could really make some really major impacts. We'll have to see, of course, how things are going to be working out for a lot of these teams. Look, CHABTAN now still taking that fight, looking for the play of ESTORM. Where is he? He's around the corner. Got to take that fight. Rest, got to be careful. Can he go for the spray, though? Fear. Ken was knocked away. Not sure what's currently happening. A little bit of jitter back and forth. We know at the end of the day, it was Fear that went down, and ESTORM are eliminated in 11th. Now down to 10 teams only.
Well, you said that ESTORM's rotation was a little bit weird to begin with when they interacted with VIVO, and due to that initial mistake, I think it got a little bit downhill from there, and they crumbled going into the loving arms of BULUC. We're still sticking closer to the edge of the circle on the western side, but not inside it, more importantly. Team QUESO will be swinging in as the next circle is about to pop up sooner rather than later. 15 minutes into the game. Still Influence Rage, VIVO, and Alpha 7 all up as full squads. To remind you, the top 3 are between 30 and 40 points behind each other. It's very close.
It's a very close battle indeed, so these last few games are going to be even more important for these squads. Circle did center up a little bit further down south than anything, so there's going to be some decent free real estate that Alpha 7 could try and seize for themselves, seize the opportunity. That is indeed what they're going to try and do, hopefully in the next few seconds, if not minutes. Team QUESO, though, pushing forward a little bit faster, I had the impression, than last game, right, Imperium. They got the information really early,
like
and that one position surrounded by roads is huge for Team QUESO if they can hold on to it. So now, objective plan for Team QUESO, now that they've already moved in position, zone teams away, create that space, create that breathing room, and if they can do so, Team QUESO could be looking for their best result of the day.
I would like to see them spread out a little bit further apart, mainly because of the fact that we are down to 34 players. If we had an extra 10 to 15 players, I would say, yeah, cool, I get that. Maybe only send one player a little bit further to one side to get a bit more information. But with the little players that we have, considering the circle we're in, I think they could afford to have a bit of a 2-2 split, have a bit of a heavier 1-1-1 person split.
You just cannot stop Federal, apparently. That nade's getting cooked a long time. The idea is there. Does get for pretty decent arc, but Unfortunately, he didn't move away in time, but it's fine. They chase him down. There's another headshot connects. Influence Rage. They're looking for 3 eliminations already after confirming those 2. Man, oh man. Oh no, that was actually their second so far, so they confirmed those 2 eliminations. Still another player though. Oh, that's QZ. They had no idea. He peeks it. He gets it. That's 1 point minimum for them. They're trying their best to remain in that 4th position. Do not want to be overtaken by Rise. Rise is not in this game, so you want to try and get as many of those points as possible. The Molly comes wide, and QZ is going to be burnt to a crisp. Jumps out. Can he get the first aid in time, though? I'm not too sure.
No
The
way.
gap is being closed. They're peeking around.
No
He gets the
way.
first aid, and now it's time to defend. But he doesn't even have a sweet chance to make it out. That's it for Nova, out in 9th, and a really good dominant push from Influence Rage.
Yeah, well done, cleanly executed, and something simple that I'll always point out. They didn't go for the revive straight away onto Little Boy. They knew that they wanted to, they needed to secure that control, secure the fight, and then they went for the revive. Happy days indeed, and 4 more elimination points on board for Influence Rage compared to Vivo Keyed with 1, and Alpha 7, surprisingly, they're only on 0 eliminations in this game so far.
It was a pretty passive position to aim for, right? It's literally a position that's all about scouting rather than actually taking aggressive fights. So, I'm not against it, but of course, having that information now, we'll see what they can make of it. Apparently not much right now, having 2 players knocked. Carrillo, I don't believe he can get rezzed up. I know he's out. He got confirmed by Milos of ATON, so they can get Mafioso back up, so that's still big. But, oh man, I didn't think they would get spotted this early in this game, in that type of position. Ragnar, though, trying to run for it over to the roadside. He's still in the blue zone as we speak. Blue zone, talking about it, is about to shift. The circle's about to move out once more. Madion's going to dodge that nade. It still takes a little tickle of damage. He moves out, and that's it. At least Ragnar's been taken care of. Alpha 7, no one is left down south, and the circle is not even that far away from you. Only Team QUESO's in there. That's a lot of space. Alpha 7, if they get themselves in circle ASAP, there's a clear chance they can reverse the situation to their advantage.
Vivo Keyed, they're down to just 1 player. Cielo. They went to the compound that was held onto by BULUC CHABTAN. They were overtaken. 9 eliminations so far for BC. It's VK, the Vivo Keyed side. It could be going horribly wrong. You see the point difference they had, even to 2nd place coming into this game. And if they go out first of the 3 teams, man, it's not going to be good coming into their final 2 games.
I just want to say, this is not a diss, by the way, Imperium, but I love how every time you say BULUC CHABTAN, you find a different way to say the name BULUC CHABTAN.
I know, right? Yeah, I suck at saying their team name. I really do,
like
man.
The same. It's like me with Zeus. It's like Zeus, Zeus. No, like that was me in PMGC last year. We'll see. I really struggle with my French origins, but we'll see. More knocks coming out though. BULUC CHABTAN trying to move into the more northern western side. Is going to be on the Souls, taking a few shots onto Madion. Can they get the knock there? Not too short, but Reyes is out. Oh man, this is rough. It's a real tough spot if you're BULUC CHABTAN, especially because Team QUESO have yet to be really involved. The moment they decide we want to get involved, we want to start picking up eliminations, that's where things are going to go down south for a lot of these squads. We'll see though. Swaggin. This is a tricky position.
No way.
Spotted out easily, but lucky enough, Swaggin was seen by no one. But he's the sole survivor now by Alpha 7. And actually took a bit of damage right there, so not looking too good for Alpha 7. They might go out a little bit prematurely this game.
Vivo Keyed there out prematurely. Influence Rage are pushing in onto Alpha 7. Kowalski comes around. Law's knocked down. Turns around. Lucky is going to get turned on beautifully as 8 on 7. A 3rd player goes down. Maxman, Influence Rage. They want 1st place in the Americas League.
Everyone's going down, and the final player, Kowalski, takes the L. They're eliminated in 6th position, and they are not able to get themselves to chicken dinner. But one thing that they did do in Imperium is outlive Vivo Keyed, but Alpha 7 are still alive in the name of Swaggin. He's going to be pushing in the blue zone. Is now going to be centering up, moving away in just a few seconds. We'll see if Swaggin can maybe, on the brink of death earlier, make it out and get as many placement points and maybe eliminations in these finishing moments. Though, Team QUESO in the dead center. 5 teams, Honored Souls, BULUC CHABTAN, Team QUESO, ATON, and Alpha 7 are waiting for the circle. Where is it going to go?
The sneakiest chicken dinner for Swaggin of Alpha 7? It could be the case. with only one elimination point, they need as many placement points as they can get.
That's exactly the goal they're going to be setting for themselves. Swagwin, can he get it right underneath the car? That's Boy. Gets one angle that's just used to perfection. They even get themselves the double. That's it for Honored Souls, eliminated in 5th. Only 4 stand tall. But Circle's only to the advantage of 1, and there's going to be Team QUESO. But Team QUESO, you can see it by where they're looking on the minimap. They're looking at BULUC CHABTAN. They're also looking at ATON, but no one in Imperium is looking at Swagwin. He was just forgotten about entirely, and he's already made in Circle. He just has to wait now and hope that the 2 other teams get swiped away by Team QUESO as he can steal a 2nd place.
I'm not here, he says. My name is John Cena. You cannot see me as BULUC CHABTAN. They're seeing all of the players in front of them. But Boy's knocked on Fernand. He's on his own by the side of the road. Just a smoked up vehicle in the blue zone touching his feet.
Oh, I saw Swagwin take a few shots on minimap. No, the molly's not on him. He's good. He's good. Oh, that 2nd molly though. Yeah, that 2nd molly though. It's too good. And that's it for Alpha 7. They're still at 4th place, able to outlive both VIVO Keyed and Influence Rage. That is what I wanted. That is what I needed. The eliminations will be lacking a little bit as they play more passive on the southern edge. Here we go. BULUC CHABTAN with their final player is going to be Ferdinand. Get himself one amazing Molotov,
No
man.
way.
These mollies are good right now. The nade to follow it up, though. Can he get the elimination confirmed? I'm not sure because those are kind of random throws right now, but you never know. Might have just a 1 hit out of 1,000 able to connect on 2 players of Team QUESO.
The amount of nades he threw in a row, was that like 4 or 5 or 6? He does make it in towards the side of the tree, but he's going to be put down by Team QUESO.
That's it. Down to our 2 final contenders for the 3rd chicken dinner of the day. ATON, just waiting. I've seen this circle quite a few times. I can tell you, if the circle moves away from the compound, Team QUESO, it's going to be so tough for them to disengage. And I think they've already used a fair amount of their utility. So without utility, this rotation, pretty much impossible, I would call it, to make it downhill, seeing how good of a split ATON currently have. But I think ATON could maybe do even better and have an even wider split, having to play over to the hard west. But they're waiting for the circle. Going to make a decision based on wherever the circle tends to go for phase 7.
I think there is a disengagement point away from this circle. It does shift to the northeast. It's in between both teams.
No, it's on the sea.
As far as I know.
It's on the sea. No, it's on the sea. It's literally on the sea. On the sea of Chumacera.
Yeah,
it's on the sea.
Yeah.
I never seen that. What?
I thought you meant it's in the water. Literally, like when he said it's on the sea, I was like, what? It's in the water, but there's no water in play.
Bro, I'm screenshotting that. I do not get... Oh my god. Oh, hell yes. Literally at first where you cannot even see the circle, right on top of the sea of Chumacera. But now the shots are coming out. INTZ from the rooftop position. They're nading it out. They're getting the mollies out. And the smokes are coming out in retaliation from ATON because they're suffering too much damage. Still got 10 eliminations. Even though they might not get themselves the chicken dinner, 10 elimination and those 12 placement points would be huge from ATON. The huge step up of the last 2 to 3 days has been huge for them. Really, really happy and proud of what they've been able to bring to the table. But INTZ with the M249 raining absolute hell, raining bullets on their foes. He gets taken down though. That's the bird's eye view lost, but Milos on the off angle also going to be taken down. Team QUESO has a 3v2 now. Looking to go for the engage, looking to go for the push to get closer, step by step. The smoke come out to have that blanket.
I like that.
To hide himself away. But Kuna still getting that pressure down, still able to get the damage to the very last second. They're trying to go for the trying to go for the res. It's a risky one, but he might have just enough time to make it happen. Kuna trying to go for the wide angle. There you go, he gets it. No res for you. And Team QUESO secure himself the 3rd chicken dinner of day 8 of the Americas Elite League.
It was overall always going to be hard for ATON 7 to have the body disadvantage and kind of being on the low ground. You saw that player from Team QUESO on the roof of the building, despite him getting knocked. INTZ was still able to give information. He was still able to be a suppressing player in that fight. But the biggest mistake ATON 7 was going for the revive. It was just too much. because at that point they didn't have the full squad. They only had one player, and the second he got knocked as well to go, you saw Ayala push in and he got the final blow. Great effort from ATON. They got themselves 10 eliminations, but just that slight mistake made it a lot harder and was the final nail in the coffin for Team QUESO claiming the chicken dinner.
You know what? I also, that rooftop play was such a good idea from INCO. But you know what? He did get knocked out a little bit prematurely, but still the amount of information and pressure he was able to get for his team to stop ATON to reposition was also so important to the win condition of Team QUESO in those finishing moments. Though Kuna get involved and willing to go wide. He knew that he put a lot of hurt on those two players. One player knocked, one trying to go for the res, but also severely wounded. Yeah, just going to go for the wraparound play. I know my teammates got my back. We still got to play. We got Bye-Bye and Ayala. And they back it up so well. They get himself the other knock on the other player of ATON and secure the chicken dinner off the back of that. Really good stuff from Team QUESO. But wow, I did not expect this Imperium. BULUC, CHABTAN, and ATON actually have more points, if not tied with Team QUESO in terms of overall points this game, because they have 13 eliminations for BULUC, CHABTAN and 10 eliminations from ATON. BULUC, CHABTAN, ATON really making a huge comeback in these last few days.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be once again another game where we saw the winning team get a good 30 to 34 point chicken dinner, right? Because BULUC seemed to be heading that direction. Unfortunately, got stopped dead in their tracks overall by Team QUESO coming down towards that compound. Even Stevens over the top three teams getting 22, 22, and 23. However, Alpha 7, Influence Rage, they both got 9 points. That's the best Influence Rage to an extent could have asked for. That's a cancel out result. That is a 0% return on investment for Alpha 7 in that game. That means Alpha 7, they only have 2 more games and 1 without Influence Rage to make up the point cushion they have.
Exactly. That is going to be so important, right? Influence Rage, looking at this one. Not able to create a gap off of this game, but not losing anything either to the hands of Alpha 7. But now in this next game, they want an absolute banger. They want one of, if not their biggest result so far in this America's Elite League Season 3, if they want to try and make sure they have that cushion so they are safe going into that final game. That, I mean, they're not even going to go into it. They're going to be looking at it, so... definitely a way to turn things around here, though. Looking at the stats of Team QUESO, 7 eliminations onto that type of position. I'm not really surprised that they have such a low amount of eliminations, seeing how good their position was towards the end game, right, Imperium? Because all the other teams were just taking care of one another, ready to get into that position in the first place, and Team QUESO just picked up the scraps and were able to get at least a few eliminations. But you know what? A fair assessment to make and a good play for them, because you get yourself the chicken dinner, you cannot quite complain. Though, Reyes, I think this is the first time we see Reyes from BULUC CHABTAN actually being the MVP of the game with 4 eliminations, just under 800 damage. Good to see a new name on this last day.
Yeah, I don't know if it's another BULUC player that we've seen in the past, or I just recognize Reyes' face from another stat in a previous game. I don't think it's the MVP stat, though, to be fair. 4 elimination points, and him and his whole team had a really good game. They took out VIVO Key, they took out ESTORM overall in the end, they took out another team on the western side. They had a very proactive game, so good to see Reyes in the MVP section.
Yeah, even gonna have Boy up there was the top assist of this game for BULUC CHABTAN. Really nice to see.
What a nice game, by the way.
That boy's got a little bit of white in there. He's saying he's transitioning. He's making it up to the point where he's going to become absolutely OP for his squad. And I think that some white hair would be very fitting on Reyes. I'm just saying, okay? I think like 90% of these players can make it happen. But again, that's going to be our top stats for eliminations, damage, and assists. We'll go over to the second page to see who is going to be able to dominate the other categories. But man, we're more than 50% done of this one. I think it was Ferdinand we saw a few times actually from BULUC CHABTAN. Now that I think about it, it's probably Ferdinand that we saw in the MVP spots, or like getting himself top frags or something for BULUC CHABTAN. But man, 2 more games remaining right now in Imperium before we know who are going to be our top teams and who is going to be our champion of Season 3 of the America's Elite League. Going to answer the question very soon. Who is the best out of these 20 teams? We'll check that right after this break.
chez Julien Fournier Hot Couture. Love is magic. Metaverse is amazing.
The finish line is now in sight for all of these teams, and only 2 games remain before we do reach it. My name is Max Mount, once again with Imperium to bring you the action of our last 2 games here before we do end all of Season 3 here for the Americas Elite League. We are getting there, Imperium. It's been a long run, but 2 more games remaining, and this is the last one where all of our top 3 players are playing in the same game. So we know that the tension is going to be at an all-time high here.
We roll back to day 1 and how the top 3 teams kind of performed in day 1 of the Americas Elite League. Alpha 7 had themselves 57 points. VIVO Kid had 44 points, and Influence Rage had themselves 36 points in their first 4 games. So it's always been the journey of the top 3, right? It's been the most consistent narrative leading into this final day, leading into these final games. And it just shows that consistency and resilience really pays off. Yes, out of the 3 teams, Alpha 7 have had a couple more ups and downs per se, but with the amount of elimination points, the amount of dominating games, and just the results they've been able to pull out, Alpha 7 have proven themselves. But do they have enough to take down Influence Rage?
I mean, that's the question of the hour. Everything really relies around that question and what the answer to that question is going to be in these next 2 games. We'll see, of course, coming into this game, that means the Group D is not going to be playing. Delta Stars, Lotus, Esports, Nova, and also XSET are going to be taking a quick breather before coming back into the final game of the day. Nova not playing this one, and Rise playing it right is a little bit of an opportunity maybe for Rise to get himself a really strong result and maybe overtake that 4th position. There's no change in prize pool. Prize pool increases are only happening in 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, so it won't be doing too much, but just for the bragging rights, you know, there could be something to do there on their side, so we'll have to keep that in mind also. But man, last time we're going to be heading on over to Erangel, to the grassy pastures. I hope for a good circle. By a good circle, I mean a horrible circle for the teams, but it's good for us. I would like to see a Sunufka finish. I think that could be a fun one. We'll see where it's going to go, but one thing's for sure, it'd be going to be a sad one to end on Erangel right now, but still got one more Miramar after, so we're still going to have some good action to go through after this.
I do think there is also something we said that you mentioned Rise playing. There is something to be said for potentially Rise taking that 3rd place. It was about Nova at the start of the day, but they haven't really performed. Rise had a very strong start to the tournament. Oh, sorry, strong start to this final day. Yes, they only got 1 point in the previous game, but VIVO Key only got 3. So it really wasn't that much of a negative for Rise. With 2 games to go, Rise will need VIVO Key to realistically choke in their own right. But if Rise do get a good kind of 20 to 25 point result each of the final 2 games, they could take over VIVO Key in 3rd place. So that's something to consider.
I got so many back and forth that can be happening, so many intricate plays that can make a huge difference in the top 5 positions in the rankings so far. We'll see how things are going to go down, but once again, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are back onto the grassy pastures for the very, very last time, but hopefully not the last time when it comes to the Americas Elite League. Hopefully we'll have more for the next seasons, if next seasons there are, which seems like that is very, very likely indeed, and we'll see how things are going to pan out for those. Playing path though, going to be from Stolba Savani all over to the position of western side of Quarry. So some teams not going to be happy about that one, especially the teams that like to go in the Milta position, into the Lipovka position especially. Before Alpha 7, it's pretty much a given. We're just going to drop pretty early on towards shooting range and go to Northern George Pole if they would like to do so.
Well, they sent Korea over towards shooting range, but the rest of the teams are going to North George. Yeah, I thought that initially, but then when I looked further down, the rest of the team are dropping towards North George. Influence Rage are going to have Yasnaya Paliana pretty much kind of locked to themselves. BULUC are more going to go for a Rozhok shift for the most part, only sending them Bete, I believe, over to the western side of Rozhok in between Yasnaya and the seated that the majority of the team are holding on to. Phase 1 has popped up, and it is on the western side of the map. It complements the plane path, but there is a good 20 to 25% of the water inside this phase 1.
I think that we've had very good phase 1 circles plus plane path kind of collaboration throughout the collaboration combinations, whatever you want to call it. I've never seen like a very, for example, eastern plane path with a very western phase 1 circle. So at least it's good in that regard, at least for the teams. I think we maybe had some of those in day 1, but it kind of calmed down pretty quickly, which is always good to see. There we have it. Now ESTORM straight into the middle section of the map here with the usual split that Nova, the Chinese team, like to do in Gatka. They're going to try and maximize their loot intake, try and get all the cars under control before trying to regroup and think of where they want to move next, depending on phase 2, where the shift is going to go. Yeah, pretty slow start to the game Imperium so far, but no, with the amount of pressure on the shoulders of some of these guys, I'm not too surprised.
ESTORM, it's important that they do gather themselves up as a full team relatively early, because right now that kind of Gaka and the field positions around are pretty deep in the centered circle. I'm not saying that loads of teams are going to surround them, but as we get further into phase 1 and the blue zone closing in, some teams are going to be heading in their direction from the east, potentially from the west, of course, potentially from the south. So they might lose a player or two if they're not together in that regard. I'm not saying teams are going to absolutely full send it to Gatka, but it is something to consider. Everest, probably like the best spot to be inside this phase one, I would argue. Maybe the Cube compound, if you're hoping on a shift up north. To risk with the Cube compound is that don't get information to the south.
Bye-bye with the M16 able to defend, going straight to the rooftop, close the door like a true gentleman. And now, might be to give himself a little bit of an angle, but unfortunately M16 not the best when it comes to those head-to-head fights. And Team QUESO, this is their usual, right? And this is their weakness, is that they usually play split in this exact position. If you want early frags for free, this is Team QUESO do you want to drop on. And instantly go for the push onto bye-bye. Nitsu also off angle. If they do get the information on Nitsu, odds are he's not going to be able to escape. So I like the Black Dragons is willing to take fights a little bit more. They seem a lot more aggressive compared to what they showed at the start of the tournament, and I enjoy that change of pace.
Nitsu hasn't been spotted yet. He's going to take shots with the M24 line. Oh my god! Oh my god, those are some disgusting shots. Of course, his position ends up getting exposed, and the fourth Black Dragon player, who is behind Nicholas, is able to get the counter knock. So unfortunately, Nitsu is not going to get revived because he's out in the open on his own.
That was still pixel from Nitsu. Pixel perfect. Love to see it, though. Martin's going to be taken down by Kanha, so he's not a done deal just yet. You know, Team QUESO aren't going to go down without a fight. There's still going to be a living chance that the two other players of Team QUESO can make it out. It's going to be Ayala going to be actually joining up on their position. So, I mean, the res is not out of the question. I would say if they have some smokes that hopefully they were able to loot up properly and they use that utility accordingly. Just going to say, Nitsu is not done and dusted just yet. There's a little bit of a chance that he can actually make it back. We'll see, of course, if that's going to be happening. There are a lot of teams now on the eastern side are starting to maybe initiate their rotation in circles, so we might even see some action happen on other parts of the map very soon.
Milovan, I believe, had absolutely no idea how close he was to the members of ESTORM. Shots are coming out from the ESTORM players. They gathered themselves up as a full squad relatively early in this game, so props to ESTORM. Similar for Furious Gaming. I love that split that they have with the compound to the north, just on the underside of Everest, and the radio tower, because the radio tower has that position of play where it's able to cover the players that's by that compound, and they're able to get a lot of information over towards that kind of centralized area of phase one. So this split from Furious Gaming, it's really healthy.
Yeah, it is. I'm really enjoying how they've been playing it so far. Just make sure that if a team comes your way, you got the cars ready to go and to regroup. I think that would be my main fear, and that is how I like to see teams play Gatka, which is don't try and take a fight in Gatka unless it's the late game. Try and avoid it and regroup if teams are getting a little bit too adventurous and too close to your vicinity, and which is what I have the impression they're doing. Send one player straight back, going to regroup as a 2-2 split. Loving it so far from them. But Vivo Kid is looking to push forward, gain a little bit more terrain advantage, a little bit more free real estate for themselves. So yeah, Furious Gaming is not given for free. They are going to have to be very cautious about their surroundings and maybe even create some space by pushing teams away.
And I think that's a calculated reposition by Furious Gaming, because they know for a fact that Vivo Key go to South George and even Alpha 7 on North George. So this is really good awareness from Furious Gaming as Black Dragons and Nicholas on his own against Team QUESO.
That pre-fire though, M249, that could be a deadly one. Nicholas only has himself the Uzi, is good for one player, but two, going to be a little bit rough. That's it, and Talon's down to literally 1 HP, 1 bullet's all they really need, and he got himself a Uzi in hand, trying to pre-fire it, and with a DP, there's no chance you take that fight versus Ayala. And yeah, Black Dragons, even though I do appreciate the fact that they were opportunistic to look for that early frag onto Team QUESO, that are known to go for wide splits in this position. I think they did overstay a little bit too long when they could have left and tried to play the circle. So good on Team QUESO. They survive 4 eliminations and survive as a 2-man crew.
Don't know exactly what happened there, but it is what it is. 13 teams, 50 players left in... It is what it is. Alpha 7 still hanging around the North George area of the map as a bit of a heavy split mafiosa. A little bit deeper up towards the northern coastline. Creo hanging around the outskirts of Zarki. BULUC, CHABTAN now making their way down. in towards the cube compound, which is a good spot, like I said, to potentially hold on to. By the way, did I say the name of the team right this time around?
Say it again. Say it again.
BULUC CHABTAN?
Yeah. BULUC CHABTAN.
Yeah.
Good job. I'm proud of you. You get a little golden star, little brownie point. Good job.
Yes.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. So VIVO Key, that's a little brownie point for them. Yeah. And hey, you asked, man. You asked, huh? But you got it right this time. Good job. They're ready to move in.
Thank you. Genuine question as well. Like I was like, did I get it right? Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, that circle shift though, it's horrendous. Straight up northwest. So much water in play. Still got hospital. You still got a portion of west, northwest Gatka fields. Everest was in play. Northern Georgepole. Alpha 7 instantly going to be making that cross across the bridge because you do not want to have to cross that later on because you know the circle's not going to end up north. There's no way that's going to happen. So, man, this is an interesting circle. I wanted a tough one to make things interesting at the end. We'll see. Oh my world, what was that? First Gaming instant clash versus ATON, but ATON get the last word. That's going to be an extra elimination to their name, and ATON had a good start. Was already 2 eliminations to their name.
ATON have no idea that VIVO Key are there. Yes, they do. As shots are being fired up, VIVO Key need to also not be too tunnel vision because a lot of teams are heading in their direction from the eastern side of the map. You have Rise Esports, even ESTORM in some way, shape, or form. Now, nobody, Max, is going on to Everest, and I really look at this phase 2 circle, the amount of water are playing. I think you hold on to Everest, both east and west as a 2-2 split. That's a really good position. You're able to third party, you're able to get information, you're able to stay out of the action while still being in the chances of being in the action, but nobody's there. It's absolutely empty on top of Everest.
We're going to keep on talking. We're going to keep on talking, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, outstanding the other side of football. It's currently happening versus them and VIVO Keyed. We'll see how far it's going to be able to go. So that nade is good. Not going to be cooked up just yet. Then nice damage onto Swaggin though. They can't really go down. They can't afford to get eliminated. This is the battle once again between 2 top 3 teams. You still have 2 more games to go. Do you not want that gap to be closed right now? Alpha 7 suffering 1 casualty in the name of Swaggin.
I love the fact that we come back to this. We come back to this fight. 2nd and 3rd. While Influence Rage still waiting. They're still in the game. They still have a full squad. Adrian gets knocked.
Adrian gets knocked. That's it. They lose himself, the man with the glasses. Man who's been able to get himself MVP after MVP in this tournament. Definitely not one you want to lose, but one you want to take down if you're Alpha 7. Revo looking right behind him onto Cielo. He gets the knock, and I believe that might even be a headshot. Yes, it was. Absolute pure precision from these guys. Alpha 7 now looking to take a little bit more control. But we saw this next phase, Circle Shift Imperium. Only word that comes to mind, horrible. Away from Hospital, away from Everest, away from Georgepole, and about 50% of the circle is going to be engulfed in the water side on the western edge. I feel bad for all of these guys and how they're going to have to deal with this one, but Cielo, there's no escape for you, my friend. Alpha 7 are going to be picking up their first elimination of the game, potentially the first of many.
Influence Rage did go on to Everest, by the way. There's a reason why they're a top 3 team. This fight is still going on with VIVO Key. They have another player knocked once again. Adrian is going to get finished off. INTZ with the 3rd party. It's going from bad to worse to worse to worse for VIVO Key, and they're down to just 1 player.
Look at Alpha 7, abandoned ship. That's the name of the mission. And they're going to make it back because they already have 2 players set up on the other side of the road. Yeah. Really smart play for Alpha 7, putting their eggs in different baskets. Instantly, when they saw that 3rd party peek its ugly head, they're like, yeah, we're done. We're leaving. This is definitely not be worth it anymore. Let's get ourselves back into position. Now, a lot of teams still going to try and aim for the coastal line Imperium. A lot of teams are going to try to struggle, though. One team that's going to struggle. The only team that's currently not in circle out of the 12 teams alive, there's only one that's not in there, and that's Influence Rage. And there's a lot of chances they're going to be gate kept. So Influence Rage, we need to see these guys pop off in the next 2 to 3 minutes to make their way into the circle.
Oh, McGrellin. Last hope for Vivo Keed in this game 4. They were already far behind in terms of the overall standings. This could be the reason why they are not in the running for first place. McGrellin can do nothing, and down Vivo Keed go.
And that's why it's so good that Alpha 7 left, because now they can even maybe gatekeep INTZ later on down the line. They'll just pick up all those extra eliminations with that juicy loot for themselves. That's looking good. We'll see how far it's going to go. Alpha 7 there, spotted away by Gary X. Not too sure it's really going to result in too much happening, and indeed the shots are not able to hit the target. And next circle for phase 4. If I see again 50% water, I do not know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to be happy the teams are going to be crying right now. We'll see, and it finally does move away from the water, ladies and gents. We're going to be having some more field finish here, but ATON, Team QUESO looking amazing in their respective positions. All the other teams on the outskirts are going to have to breach in the very, very near future.
Influence Rage are already in the southern edge of the circle. They were anticipating this kind of shift. They moved from Everest on that eastern side down to the southeast, all through the southern edge of the circle, and 2 of their players are now inside. Alpha 7, they only have a short distance to go, but you called it. They could gatekeep INTZ. But INTZ, they have a pretty decent spread. They're going for 2-2 on the split. The only thing is BULUC, CHABTAN, they could become involved. They could third party and make things horrible for INTZ.
INTZ, though, having Ren going a little bit wider around the side, but I do really like what INTZ are trying to do here, trying to go with the angles. Netos in particular is really the one setting down Alpha 7 in their current position, making it really hard for them to go aggressive or try and leave that position. Is kind of serving as insurance that this play is indeed going to happen for INTZ. So like another trying to play around it, though. Revo pushing up with that very good looking PMGC skin on the Scar, by the way. I'm jealous. I wish I had it. But as we know, my luck is just not there. Alpha 7, though, are they going to have some luck on this push? Is it going to work out? There's only Mythic, but the rest of Rise join up.
Oh my god!
They get spotted out. They had no clue, and Alpha 7 get mowed down one by one, but Carrillo is in enemy territory. He gets job done. I thought Alpha 7 going to fall down in a matter of seconds, but no, They hold on strong. Only one knock going the way of Revo. And now there's one player from Rise that's just too far away to really give assistance. Alpha 7, that breach works out, and I have no idea how.
It's just about the right timing. Like 3 to 4 seconds later, even 2 seconds later, that probably would have gone horribly wrong. But it was at that time in which Rise were just about getting there. Alpha 7 were just about getting there, but you can see that one of the Alpha 7 players on the buggy was just enough to see them push on through. And now INCO with the Rise. Revo is able to get the knock. That's unfortunately going to be more than 69 eliminations for Revo. You hate to see it. Good job, Revo.
No! Okay, I'm done. I'm leaving. I'm not casting America's Elite League anymore. How dare he? How dare he? The biggest offense has been now made. We'll see how far Alpha 7 can actually truly make in this game. Already up to 5 eliminations. They're looking good. Influence Rage, they're struggling as they try and enter potentially the next circle shift. We'll see, because they're currently playing the edge. Compared to Alpha 7. Also on the edge, actually, you know what? I thought it was Center. I was mixing them up. Was ATON. But Netos peeking from the great position, able to leapfrog Alpha 7 spot. Swaggin not out of the race. Netos giving the respect that's deserved over to the squad. And they're going to leave out. There's going to be a little bit of a comeback to us for a few seconds here, unfortunately, because we do have a little bit of an issue on the game side. But that is fine. We still have the map feed, which I believe we can still use to some extent.
Yes, we do.
We'll get back into the game very, very soon. But man, an absolute insane game from a lot of these teams, and this circle's been tough, but the response from Alpha 7 and INTZ, the back and forth, the leapfrog happening left, right, and center, was super interesting and really well executed from both teams.
Yeah, BULUC didn't really get involved in the way that I thought they might have across this game so far. Influence Rage, they're not in as bad of a position as it initially looks. They're not really struggling, mainly because they have a full squad. Now, the circle has just shifted on the next phase, Max. It's gone up north. This is a field ending for game 4 of the day. This is very exciting because there's a couple of little bit of low ground dips, but those become risky in towards the nades. But then you have the hay bales, you have the flatness. You gotta leave it until, in my opinion, the very last second to enter this kind of circle.
Yeah, so I guess our two Erangel games of the day are both going to be field finishes, which is not the fun portion of PUBG Mobile, unfortunately. Can be a little bit tough. We'll see how things are going to be going, but here we have it. Teams are finally going to be going for their approach, and Inference Rage, they're suffering big casualties right now. Imperium, 2 players instantly shut down. Only 1 currently stands, is going to be Kowski. So not going to be the easy one for them. Honored Soul's going to try and leapfrog that entire position, while Team QUESO is just waiting. Might just lose the opportunity to get in circle before Honored Souls, but here we go. We're back in game. That was a real snappy one. Sorry once again for the technical issues, but we are back into the game for good this time.
I can't believe that. Influence Rage, I thought they had all their angles covered because they had a good spread in the previous phase. All the while, Revo gets knocked. Alpha 7, they're down to just 1 Swagun. Can he clutch it up? Yes, 7 eliminations, but there is still 10 teams left, so they need as many placement points as they can get.
Okay, he'll dodge it. How the hell does that work out? Trying to go for the spray. Swagon got to switch over to the GP. Oh, my lord. Nice try, but unfortunately will not go the entire way. Still Alpha 7 able to pick himself up. The extra eliminations into that one. Still shown as not dead, apparently, on the right side of our screen, but I think we're not going to be able to use that anymore for the remainder of this game. Alpha 7 are indeed out there, not still alive as a 3-man crew. So ATON still on the western side, and they've remained pretty much undetected for a major portion of this game, only having 2 eliminations, so they had a very easy time in this one. But now for the very first time upon the next phase, we're going to have to see them move in, and that means they have the resources to take the fights. They're going to be prepared. They have themselves a 4-man crew. Also, ATON could be the contender here for this chicken dinner in this game.
Honored Souls did a good job of eliminating 3 of the Influence Rage players on the southern side as they look to make their way into the edge of the circle. Their next challenge is Team QUESO. I talked about this kind of circle having a couple of low ground dips to utilize. That's one of the dips, but it poses its own risks. They have to be proactive around this area. Last player of Influence Rage, Kowalski, with 1 elimination point, top 4. Even top 3, that's minimum of what he's aiming for, in my opinion.
This wants to outdo the performance of Alpha 7 and also of VIVO. VIVO already out, and he was 2 eliminations. Alpha 7 also out, was only 5 eliminations. Maybe a little bit more actually at the end, we're not sure. Kowski, survival of the fittest. So play for the long game. Don't play for eliminations. The long game is all you need. If you can make it into a top 5, as you said, Imperium, right? Some good placement points. That could be the reward they just need. On Souls, finally, going to be picking up some speed, get himself into the cars, into the buggies, and get himself into circle. They're going to be crossing in, but Team QUESO with the M249 for Kuna. Ayala a little bit further over to the east. Going to go for the spray, though. Here you go, gets enraged, go for the spray down. But no, he doesn't quite get it, and Kuna is going to be actually stabbed right in the back. Team QUESO, only Ayala remaining as everyone's pushing into the circle onto INCO Gaming and BULUC CHABTAN's position. This is a race for the chicken dinner.
Kowalski is still alive. He might be able to pick off a sneaky elimination onto the last remaining player, Team QUESO. ESTORM storming in, breaching on the edge of the circle in the northwestern side, going up against INCO. Golden, prones down, shots are coming through. ESTORM down to 1.
Okay, this is definitely a step up. Do you want to see BULUC CHABTAN, though? Came back heavily today, right, Imperium? So we'll see how far I can go. Maybe just one sneaky nade onto Golden. Well, apparently my dreams are going to become reality. Called it! BULUC CHABTAN picked that one up. Ilian Kid's going to be the one to put the nail in the coffin of INCO Gaming, though. 16 still here. And Kowalski is still alive. BULUC CHABTAN raining absolute hellfire upon the teams around them. I think that's not what Ilian Kid really wanted to do. He leaps over, but you know what? Luckily enough, no one's ready to take the shots onto his position. They're sending Reyes wide over to the east side. Into the circle. That's big. Kowalski taking a fight. That's it for Team QUESO, but Fernan is the one to get that elimination. So Kowalski still has a long way to go. As he's spotted out by Nenebete. Still spotted out by Nenebete. But you know, he's saved away. BULUC CHABTAN are saving Inference Rage this game. What is going on?
But can Kowalski make it into the edge of this circle? He's still not in. BULUC, they've been reigning supreme on the northern side of the circle for the last couple of phases, using the elevation point of the buildings to take away any kind of advantage you have prone down on the fields of this circle.
Circle, where's it going to go? Look, CHABTAN still in their compound. Love the off angle of Reyes, by the way. Kowalski. Does he have a bunch of first aid?
This is top four.
You just want to go full heal off. That might be the play, but yeah, top four happening right now. Imperium, if he could get himself into that top three to get that good 10 placement points, that would be so much better for him. But he only has 10 bandages, and he's spotted away. No. Oh, so scary for Kowalski. You've got to be careful. Do not peek out. You cannot leave this position. It's literally impossible. I would just give myself potentially away to the blue zone, because he is not aware which team this is he's going up against. It might be Alpha 7. He doesn't know. So he's just going to stay here, heal off with the bandages, play for the long term.
There is one player left of INTZ. If he goes down, the hands of either ATON 7 or BULUC, that's a top 3 for Influence Rage. Time is of the essence. Time would be Kowalski's best friend.
Definitely not the blue zone, though. That's not going to be his best friend. I'm hearing some shots taken. ATON spotted out. Kowalski is actually INTZ. You get it done. It's still a decent amount of points, don't get me wrong. Still 8 placement points, but he's not going to be able to create that huge gap he was hoping. They are not playing the next games. It's all going to be down to the result and the performance that Alpha 7 and VIVO Keyed will be able to bring to the table in game number 5. BULUC, CHABTAN go for the push. Ferdinand showing his back over to ATON, but now the information's been given over. INTZ are going to be out in 3rd, down to now 2nd place potentially for ATON. As the push is going to be happening for ATON. Can they survive the wrath of the 3 players of BULUC, CHABTAN as they push in with the smoke, pushing with the utility? Reyes is going to be on the front line. Ready to get himself over to that crate. If he gets over to that crate, that's insane. Puts a little bit more utility on the side of ATON. That's one good nade. Right to connect. That's an absolute banger. And onto the final player, Reyes makes a game-winning push. And that's the 4th chicken dinner of the day going over to BULUC, CHABTAN.
They missed out on the opportunity in the previous game. This time around, they made it count. Like I said, controlling the north in a confident fashion. They pushed in onto ATON 7, got themselves a well-deserved chicken dinner. It's been a hell of a day for BULUC, CHABTAN. Coming into today, they were looking okay. They were looking okay. They had more to give us. They had more to show us, and they've shown it. They've shown what they can do. They deserve this chicken dinner in game 4.
That was one of our storylines, actually, which were, can we see the resurgence of BULUC, CHABTAN? And it seems like today is that day. We've seen him make a very significant comeback, able to get himself this chicken dinner in very, very dominant fashion, get himself also double-digit kill count, which is not the easiest thing to do. I know we've seen a lot of 19 elimination chicken dinners, but still 10 eliminations is a very, very strong result, plus the chicken dinner to back it up. But Reyes in particular here, he was going for the off angle, making sure that no teams from the fields could play sneaky little tricks on them, and then he's willing to go for that push at the end to secure that 1v2, to secure the chicken dinner. Man, Reyes, in my eyes at least, is the MVP of this game for BULUC, CHABTAN.
And it'll be the 2nd game in a row if that is the case. 25 points for BULUC, but I'm scrolling down at Influence Rage. Despite them only getting 2 elimination points, the survivor from Kowalski, 4th place, they still come out with a net positive, not only Alpha 7 of 2 points, but 7 points ahead of VIVO Keyed. I can't help but think that's VIVO Keyed. Unfortunately, they're out of the running for the top spot. I really believe that. However, Alpha 7, I think there is a chance, but they will need a monster of a result. They will need to dig deep. They will need to go Hulk mode if they're going to knock Influence Rage off in game 5.
Yeah, Gear 2 and Gear 3 will not even be enough. We're going to need Gear 4th Snake Man version if they really want to try and go for that 1st place. But you know what? If there's one team Imperium in all of this lobby who can get those big chicken dinners with 20 eliminations, well, weird enough, Alpha 7's already done that, and they can make it happen again towards the finish line to just cross Influence Rage on that final game. As we know, Influence Rage are not going to be playing this final match, so it's free real estate for Alpha 7, but they cannot afford a bad result heading over into Miramar. Though, little bit lower. Some teams have some little bit of an upset result here. Is going to be the side of Rise, for example. We were thinking, can Rise potentially overtake Nova's position? You got that big back and forth that was happening, and this was the game where Nova was not playing, if I'm not mistaken. So it could have went pretty well for them, but unfortunately, Rise not really able to get the lead they were hoping off the back of that game.
Yeah, like I said about BULUC, they were coming into today's games in 10th place on 194 points, only 5 points behind Black Dragons. And I think after today's games, with the performances they've had, they could actually overtake INCO Gaming 6th place and kind of be eads of the rest per se. Rise have still had some good games, so I don't think it's been enough, because they needed an app. They would have needed some really big games to take over Rise. But BULUC from 10th to 6th, I know it's not much of it's a zero difference in terms of prize money, but it is good confidence building for them coming into PMPL.
Is that true, the 42 smokes? Like, that seemed like an insane... We've seen big numbers around utility, like nades and smokes. Like, these are actually pretty insane stats to look at. Right? Unless the smokes count also flashbangs and the nades also count Molotovs, which that could explain also.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either, but you never know. It could be something. We don't have a stat for, like, you know, flashbangs or the mollies, so you never know, might be encountered in one category as aggressive, or one just more utility-based. Theosto going to be the MVP for the side of INTZ. He's been able to survive for a very big portion of this game. 5 elimination, just shy of the 1,000 damage margin, but that is completely a-okay when you get that amount of eliminations. Everything is forgiven. But man, not going to be a forgiven kind of game. Last game is just around the corner, ladies and gentlemen. Game 5 of Day 8 here of the Americas Elite League. Season 3 is just about to be among us. Intrigued to see who's going to be able to remain on top of the podium, take home that first place, and take home that $1,400 of the total of $10,000 prize pool. As this also, we can check, going to be top fragger and also top damage dealer in this game. Always good to see, but we're going to see come back off Ferdinand once again was Nenebete, actually, of Loops, which is a name that we have not seen often on this top stats page.
Well, it is for the travel distance, so it's really not much of a stat to have. Sorry, but it's just not. But it's nice to see a Loops player up there. I really thought Reyes was going to be the MVP for that game, but credit to Matthias, he is the player that took out Alpha 7 in this game 4.
Might not be the MVP in the stats, but he's the MVP in the heart. That is all we have to say, Imperium. But one more game remains. One more game separates us between us knowing who is going to be in that first place. And you know what? It's going to be Influence Rage. Is it going to be Alpha 7? Or is it going to be the Kid? We'll have to see. And you have the answer to that question right after this break.
Hello? Vous êtes bien chez Julia Fournier Rock Couture. Love is magic. Metaverse is amazing.
We are finally at that point. 31 games played for every single one of these teams. 8 days worth of play. And we're finally about to know, Imperium, who is going to be in the first place of the Americas Elite League Season 3. But one more game. The final one is the final banger. We'll see who's going to be able to remain on top. But Influence Rage right now. Oh, it is so not satisfying. Just shy of 400 points, 399. Alpha 7. If there's any other team that can make it above 400 points and also overtake Influence Rage in one clean swoop, it will be Alpha 7 currently. One chicken dinner is what they need minimum, plus an insane amount of eliminations. Alpha 7, it can go the entire way, but it's going to require a lot of effort in this final game. I think you might be muted, Imperium.
Apologies. I thought it was an unachievable gap. Being honest, I thought it was a bigger gap, but 28 points by Alpha 7 standards is achievable. 15 points for a chicken dinner, 13 to 14 points for eliminations, and it will be their game. It's still going to require that monstrous game, but Alpha 7, they're a team that have proven time and time again they are capable of it. Unfortunately, Lockheed, the jig is up. They're out of the running, unfortunately, but it's still been a hell of a tournament for VIVO Keith.
And there's no change in prize pool from second to third, so you know what? Doesn't matter if they were able to overtake Alpha 7 or not in that second or third place, they will still get themselves $900. The big difference is going to be when you jump from second to first, where you get $1,400 for first, then down to $900 for second and third. So we'll see, though, of course, come into this last game. 4 teams are not playing once more. LAZARUS, Team QUESO, INTZ, and the big chungy wongy of Influence Rage are not participating, are not going to be part of our teams playing this final game. Man, we said it, we don't want to see them in that situation where they're going to be biting their nails on the last game and stressing out and thinking, oh no, if they keep getting eliminations and get that chicken dinner, we might be done and we might get kicked out on that first place on the very, very last game. But unfortunately, we're right there, so Influence Rage is going to be looking this last game with a lot of stress, a lot of pressure on their shoulders, but a lot more pressure is going to be on the shoulders of Alpha 7 because they need to perform.
Exactly. Honestly, I think Influence Rage have really overall done the best job they could have to create that big cushion. I don't think if they lose, it's outside of anything they could do per se. Yeah, okay. You can always ask the question of, could they have created a bigger gap? Yeah, but that's easier said than done. And at this kind of caliber, at the very top of this America's Elite League, it certainly is tough. So I think Influence Rage have done a hell of a job, and I feel like they're going to be a little bit more relaxed. And like you said, especially compared to Alpha 7, they have all the work to do in this final game.
All the work to do and all the games are played out except for this last one. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome back to the America's Elite League. We're ready to jump into the final game here for Season 3. And before we know who the champion might just be, is it going to be Influence Rage or is it going to be Alpha 7? These are the teams that we're looking at right now. Alpha 7 dropping out pretty early on, going straight over to the western side, right above Crystal Val, and potentially going towards the water treatment area. They are a little bit split. You want to make sure that no teams are ready to play spoilers to finish off today.
Final game. Give us either an island finish or a prison finish. Let's go, PUBG Mobile gods.
Yeah, I don't know where you get all that hope from, Imperium, but definitely not from me because I'm the complete opposite right now. I think we're going to have a pretty normal circle. That's what I'm going to call, but it's pretty eastern path. So you know what? We had it today. The plane path, the phase 1 circle tends to lean into the plane path quite a bit. Is that going to be the case for this one, or are they we're going to give them a run for their money, heading straight over to the west? It's going to be waiting to see. And if the pop there a little bit of action is going to be already happening in Minas Generalis. Not too surprised. Going to be Zifan with the Mini 14, picking up one swift elimination. Going to be going straight for the second, also just around the corner. And there you have it. Despite being severely underlooted, Zifan with a Mini 14. That's all he needs to suffer, to make suffer their wrath.
And I'm a little bit surprised that Nova have opted to go for their normal drop spot aiming in Generalis. Maybe because Furious Gaming are in the lobby, so they can't go to their second drop spot in Porta Pre. So there is still a chance they can overtake Rise to reclaim their fourth spot. They're only 3 points behind. Also, on the side note, BULUC, they're only now 15 points behind INCO Gaming. INCO are definitely a good team. They're playing in this final game, but there is a possibility for BULUC to make that kind of big jump up from 10th place into that 6th spot that I speculated at the end of the previous game.
We'll see how it's going to go. Just trying to look at the rankings right now, trying to do some quick math in my head as to exactly what could happen in what kind of scenarios, depending on what placement this team can get. But one thing I can tell you for sure, bare minimum, we need to see Alpha 7 make it in a top 3. And even that is not ensuring their way over in that first place. Because they need to have the eliminations to back it up, Imperium, right? So not going to be given to them. Koi, very far behind was QZ, while Xifan and Kindness are going for their own respective push onto loops. Might want to see the entire team collapse. They already got 2 elimination. You can just overwhelm the entire fight with sheer numbers, especially because you know as a fact the loops are very undiluted. I mean, so are Nova, don't get me wrong, but when you're undiluted, it makes it even harder to deal with a man disadvantage. So yeah, if I were Nova, just push it, take the fight, get those 4 eliminations, finish up looting in Minas Generalis, and start moving into the center part of the circle. VIVO
Key can take away 2nd place. And that makes me think they potentially look to hot drop Alpha 7 in the Crucival area. That would have been a juicy fight to witnessed. But Chief does get a knock onto one of Nova players.
I see a DBS, I smile, I'm happy with the Thompson too. Pretty nice ammo count, could be working pretty nicely. This type of scenario. Oh, kind of saying, oh, I thought you only had a Winchester. He has a Uzi also to back him up. He's not going to be willing to take that fight head on. Xifan, very big chance he's not going to be able to get rezzed up. Loops might just try and confirm that elimination very soon. There you go, they're shooting himself. Kindness not shooting, maybe giving him a little bit more confidence. He's waiting, there you go, they come around. The rest of Nova are not closing the gap. What are they doing right now? Are they on vacation? Well, then the Maldives or something? Not too sure. Kindness though with the Uzi. Very low bullet count, and that's it for him. Though they do get the knock onto Chief in the distance, and now they're going to start closing the gap. I think they should have done that a lot earlier, personally. But at least they will be able to get, if they're lucky and if the timing is right, get Xifan as 2 feet.
Lovely nade being thrown out. I think it's a little bit overcooked, but it's enough to pressurize him in towards the corner. It's going to be a traded up. Koi able to come in. Fortunately, we switch over to VIVO Key looting up for some reason, so we don't get to see the end of that fight. As of right now, it's still not fully won by the members of Nova. QZ, he's on his own back. It's a 1v1.
Give me the 1v1 QZ. There you go. Wrap around. Reload, though, onto the Vector or the Scar. Maybe even both if you have the chance, but the Vector power is all he needs. Imperium and Nova will remain alive as a 2-man, though. They still are able to remain the kings of Minas Generalis on the final game of the day.
VIVO Key, we switch on over. Cielo gets a knock on the Fear. They had a bit of a sprawling spread in the San Martin / Hacienda area. A little bit more of a bigger spread than they normally play. It's fine. He just kind of caught me off by guard. But I like the way you say his name. I do. Cielo.
I literally put my hand. You know what like hand formation I put them in, right? So,
what hand formation?
No, the Italian ones, like, yes.
Oh, yes. Oh, like the 2 fingers together. It's like, oh, cielo. Yeah.
I wonder, is that how Italian PUBG Mobile players play? I just, with their hands like that?
Yes, exactly.
Must be very comfortable. Must be a little bit annoying.
That's why,
like that, you know.
But there's not very many good Italian PUBG Mobile players. I joke, there's quite a few.
And I had tried playing PUBG Mobile with a white flag, but I wasn't able to, so, you know what? I tried playing it the regional way, as you call it. There you go, Jago taking a little fight. Oh, but from behind. He's taken down. Yes.
Okay. Second knock comes through.
You're not telling me.
Not going the absolute best. Yeah, Baguette would have been better.
Oh, okay. You know what? That could be good. Put a little thumb sleeve on it. Just nice and smooth. Slips around your screen.
You need a pretty big thumb sleeve for a baguette.
That's an arm sleeve right there. Just go the entire way. We'll see. There you go. ESTORM. A little bit split all over the map while VIVO Kid just go, whoa, okay. Extra points for style, but also extra point because kills. And kills equal points and points equal prizes, right, Imperium? That's what you like to say. But VIVO 2K get involved in the fight. Actually, no, that's another third party. I thought was happening. The elimination feed is just lighting up at the same time for a lot of these fights. It's down to 1 for ESTORM. Can FP, can he survive the wrath of VIVO Kid as they try to think that they might be able to make in that second place, even though it seems almost unlikely. I would almost say impossible. But they're still looking for the elimination. They're looking for a third right now in this game.
Well, considering the amount of points Alpha 7 need to overtake Influence Rage, you're very quiet in this game so far. Entering the circle on the northern side. So, with how aggressive VIVO Kid are being and proactive, right now I look at them as having a chance of overtaking Alpha 7. We'll have to wait and see. They do still need to get rid of the final player of ESTORM.
That's the thing. You need Alpha 7 to get the 0 points for that to happen. But you know what? Getting yourself 4 eliminations to kick off your game would definitely be a step in the right direction. Nate's going to be cooked up by KenFB. And the surprise factor is there in the name of Adrian. He sees everything and he's feeling real good about that one. 4 eliminations already. They're going to get the res onto McGrellin. And they're looking for better tomorrow.
Return of investment is definitely positive with the 4-for-1 trade. The Blue Zone is closing in on this phase number 1, of course. We didn't start this game with a full lobby, so we have 11 teams left up. 0 eliminations for Alpha 7. And in my eyes, they need a minimum of 14 eliminations. Because in my eyes, top 3 isn't enough. Top 3 isn't enough. So I'm looking at 14 eliminations with the 15 points for a chicken dinner. That's 29 points. They're currently 28 points behind. Okay, so 14 eliminations is their target.
I think that's a really good margin to set for themselves. Actually, I really like that. So we're going to go with that for now. We'll see, of course, how things are going to be changing up. VIVO Kid Alpha 7, of course, being into this one can be a bother for one another. And hopefully will be. They saw this phase 2 circle come up a little bit more to the southern side of Picado here, so a lot of terrain that these teams, these players are used to. We saw this exact circle happen early, actually, throughout today. So they are definitely not in lost territory, foreign territory, should I say. So we're seeing some action happening in La Bandita, apparently. Intrigued to see how that's potentially going to pan out. We haven't zoomed on the fight just yet, so not too sure actually how things are going down, but that's going to be INCO taking their own respective fight. Here we go, we're zooming in. But INCO, I don't think are aware of this one player of Nova inside La Bandita, so you're going to leave it and not take the fight any further.
They initiated onto Nova earlier on, as far as I know, and took down 2 of the 3 remaining players. It happened a little bit ago while VIVO Kid were fighting against ESTORM. We didn't really talk about it because honestly it wasn't really that important, but that's just a bit of context of why we're seeing Nova down to 1 player.
That's it though. Now teams are going for the center, which is in this type of circle the best kind of play you could go for. Our team's still looking for compounds, a lot of scouting done down south. Loving what ATON are currently doing with Honored Souls is a really good idea, just trying to hold on to the more high ground positions in this type of circle, and off the back of that, make a decision based on the info. It's very simple, straightforward, right? You got a plan in mind, love to see executions like that. But they are going to be annoying one another. They are going to be in the thought of the side. Here, Honored Souls in particular, gave himself 2 knocks. I'm not sure if they got the first, but maybe can try and capitalize on it, but they're right behind the rocks, so they can't quite get the flush. Honored Souls in a position they could push from multiple angles super aggressively. This wouldn't be too hard a fight for Honored Souls to really take home.
No, this is looking so good for them. They've only lost 1 player, so they still have 3 up. Nice practice shots by Pederino as one of his teammates repositions around. Alpha 7, fight number 1 is in front of them. Furious Gaming is their target. They cannot afford, in my opinion, to lose any player. It needs to be 100% return on investment. All eliminations, 0 casualties. Swinging around, Mafioso is playing on the other side of the road on the low ground. That's definitely a good reposition for Mafioso. As Revo takes shots off, it's going to send Furious Gaming back a bit.
I like the little off angle. I'm not sure who it is exactly, but there's one player right on the angle. I think it's Mafioso actually down south.
Yes.
He's just waiting, and if they peek on the rooftop and overstep their welcome, or they're just a little bit too ballsy on that play, if they lose the eyes they have right now, there's Tigers in. That just opens up a world of opportunities for Alpha 7 to push this position. It could be huge. Another fight's happening towards Power Grid actually right now. Is going to be Delta Stars towards BULUC CHABTAN, if I'm not mistaken. So a lot of clashes. You got currently 3 fights raring to go between a lot of these teams. 6 teams currently involved in a fight. And Alpha 7, as we know already, Imperium, we set the baseline for this game. Alpha 7 cannot afford to lose this fight and cannot even afford to lose a player because they need a chicken dinner in this game if they want to have a very big chance of going in that first place.
Revo took a little bit of damage. The circle is still in their favor. I appreciated Mafioso's reposition and the angle that he holds onto, but I don't like the other player in the off angle that he holds onto. In my opinion, it leaves only 2 players in the front line, and that's not enough. And that's why that third player, Swagon, is pushing forward. It needs to be that 3-person push for Alpha 7 onto the players of Furious Gaming. Initially, it was just 2 Furious Gaming players in that church side, but the whole squad has joined up. It's gonna be a 4-on-4 fight.
There you go, the 4-on-4, and Alpha 7 kicked this one off in a really strong way. Swagon gets another one. Wow, this fight's going on so fast. Really surprised, but Swagon will be able to survive the brink of death in that little bit of an engage.
Oh no.
There's another plan on the side, and not aware about Carrillo. He's got to be careful. He makes it inside the building at least, and they overwhelm the entirety of his own honor souls. Furious Gaming with sheer willpower and strength. But they will get the res onto Swagon. He should be normally pretty safe. Furious Gaming down to 1. They're going to have to go for the push once more. They hear the footsteps. They know he's pushing.
Oh no.
And straight out of the smoke. He's right around the corner there. Mafioso pushes it. He gets knocked away. Can he get the flush though? Not too sure. He's taking another fight. He's put so low. They need to get it. They can't afford to lose this fight. And Carrillo's knocked away too. Revo! This is the fallout. Revo is 1 HP. And they don't have the teammate. Revo, does he have time to go for a first take here? I'm not too sure if he hears that. I think Milovan might just push it. And this just might be the end for it. And Revo falls down. And so do their chance of making it into first place. The dream of Alpha 7 has been shattered by a solo man in the name of Milovan 77.
In a blink of an eye, it all crumbles for Alpha 7. In a matter of seconds, one man took down Alpha 7. That was a 1v4. Simple as that. No questions asked. Alpha 7 chokes and Influence Rage. They can breathe a sigh of relief. Yes, this game goes on, but Influence Rage are your AEL Season 3 champions.
Yeah, but you know what? We still got another big question, potentially, which is going to be VIVO. Despite only having 2 players remaining, can they make a big enough an impact to just overtake Alpha 7? Only has 3 points in this game. That's a pretty big question. Well, actually 4 points because he got that 1 extra placement point from 10th position. We'll see how far they can potentially go, though. There you go, Milovan. He did the clutch earlier. Seemed like Black Dragon's 4-man crew was a little bit too much for him to swallow, so that's it for them. But still, Milovan will go down in history as the player who stopped Alpha 7 to chase down that first place in the America's Elite League Season 3.
All the while, the circles have been shifting. It's, funnily enough, headed towards Picado. Viva Kita are on that kind of very southern edge of Picado. So they have a good overwatch of this hillside, but there's a good level of protection in which INCO hold on to a 2-1-1 split. It's absolutely wonderful. Yes, Nova do have a bit of an off angle, but it's just one player on his own, so he's not really going to be looking to put too much pressure himself. INCO don't know that, but my point is, it's still a great spread from INCO Gaming.
is still a really strong one. I would like to make sure that they have cars in the right direction, in the sense that if a team gets a little bit too close, a little bit too adventurous, they can regroup. So I hope they have the cars already aiming at a direction they want to move to. They can instantly kick that kind of play into gear if needed. Though phase 4 circle now, the blue zone is going to be closing and wrapping around these teams, wrapping around these players. So you've got to be making sure that you're getting yourself in position. There's a big amount actually up north that's not played. So Elite currently the sole survivor for Delta Stars could get himself into a position where he could play absolute spoilers on fights happening further down south if he gets right up north of the road. So yeah, Delta Stars, despite only having one player, could be a big issue for some of these teams.
Could indeed. Black Dragons making into the southern edge of the circle. A little bit of a compound as a bookmark. Gives them a bit of time to settle themselves, start to get information as this phase 4 blue zone is closing in. Like I said, Vivo Keyed, they're down on the south edge of Picado, but the only team that are realistically on that northern side of the circle. Nobody else is around them.
No one else right now. Vivo Keyed not willing to push out of that position because they know they got to aim for that chicken dinner. They don't want to take the fight. It's a risk, but the thing is, if you play, I wouldn't say scared, but reserved, that might have the opposite effect, and you might miss out on great opportunities. So I think it's fine for them right now to stay and remain inside Picado. Don't get me wrong, I think it's good right now. I hope that they're not going to go too far in that mindset, which is we just want to survive on the eastern side in Picado and not play. Like, no, you're going to have to play. You're going to have to push out. You're going to have to aim for at least a top 3. So you're going to have to outlive 3 other teams, and that is not a given.
So you're saying Alpha 7 got 4 points in that game. That leaves them on 375. Coming into this game, Vivo Keys are on 353. So that means they are 22 points behind Alpha 7. With the 4 they've got, that means 21 points are required. Chicken dinner, another 6 eliminations, 7 eliminations, and that will see them take over second place from Alpha 7.
Got to bring out your inner Milovan, apparently. It's a... Oh, hey! Hey.
Ooh.
Wait a minute. That circle right there. That is the redemption arc for Vivo Keyed in this finishing moment. This is absolutely huge. And they're playing the high building too, right? They're playing on the roof, if I'm not mistaken. They've got a few angles in the windows. But they need to get involved. That's the thing. And you mentioned it already, right? Chicken dinner's not enough. They need a chicken dinner and 6 eliminations. So they need to start taking shots onto Rise like ASAP. They cannot be allowed to make inside Picado. So you need to see some eliminations racking up in the elimination feed in favor of Vivo Keyed I'm saying SAP a lot. But, you know, pretty fast.
Oh, Rise! Rise are crashing in onto the big blue building held onto by the 2 Vivo Key players. And Adrian, you can see in the feed, is able to get the UMP knock. But is it going to be enough?
Oh, seems like that might not be the case. Adrian's still going to be able to survive. McGrellin did get knocked away, but that is it for Vivo Keyed. And we now have our top 3 100% confirmed. They're here in first place. Going to be going over to the boys of Inference Rage. Alpha 7 in second, and Vivo Keyed will remain in that third place. Still, big ups to the team. They gave it their best try until the very, very end. But, fortunately, no changes happened in the top 3.
And this was generally a really, okay, not a really, but a pretty important fight for Rise to win in terms of holding on to that 4th place, right? Because Nova were still alive. They didn't exactly fully know that. They don't need to, because the most important thing is controlling your own result, and that's exactly what they've done in pushing Vivo Key's position.
There we go, Rise taking a fight. INCO also getting in the similar vicinity. This game might actually end prematurely. We've got a lot of action already breaking out. We're just in phase 5. Wow, here you go. INCO looking for Koi, the final player of Nova, and there's no chance he survives it.
Koi!
What? Koi, how are you doing this? How are you doing this? You need to teach me the way.
1v4?
Confirm it. Got to reload, mate. Be careful, those 24 bullets might not be enough. He's surrounding you. He's going around the other side. Confirm those eliminations. Every single one he might be able to get. And he gets it!
1v4!
Koi! You must be kidding me right now. 1v4 versus INCO Gaming. He's still there, living up to the name and trying his best to make his way now into the fight versus Rise and Black Dragons.
Top 4 teams, all centered up, all going for Picado. Rise with 4 eliminations. Black Dragons are in front of them. They've overtaken the blue building, but the mythic nade comes through, and it's a hell of a nade.
Damn, his nades are just too damn OP, man. Please nerf this guy in the next patch. Mythic a little bit further around. Decent nade angle once more.
Love it.
Gonna be able to get a lot of job done this time, but Mufasa, they all colliding, they all collapsing onto Black Dragons while the res is coming out on Nicholas. Gets brought back up, but gotta be careful. He's on your left and he gets it.
Perfect.
Oh, the push as a 2-man is huge, but Black Dragon gonna forget about the off angle. Black Dragons only have Ragnar there remaining, taking the shots. He has the angle once more, trying to go for the push, but he knows that now more than ever is his one opportunity for salvation. His one opportunity to get the elimination. He goes for the molly, but gets shut down by Mythic, the man, the myth, the legend himself, up to 7 elimination. 3 players still up. The circle moves away. They need to start moving out ASAP.
Oh my god, I know none of the kind of top 3 in the overall rankings are in the end of this final game of the Americas Elite League, but honestly, this is still so satisfying to watch. Rise Esports. We've given them so much credit. We've highlighted their strengths in a big way. We've highlighted their potential. This final game chicken dinner would sum it up and secure a top 4 spot.
Would have kick-started off the day with the chicken dinner on Miramar, and they would bookend the day with the chicken dinner also on Miramar. What a better way to end off the Americas Elite League with Rise-type performances. Mythic pushed out. Fast is going to join up on his position while keeping Gary X on the off angle, keeping a little bit of survivability, and that's it. Chuka gets absolutely ran over. Mythic gets the shot with the UMP. No way you survive that encounter. And Nova will snatch away a second place. Sneaky, sneaky Koi is there in the background. He's spotted away, by, I believe, by Mufasa. Can we get a 1v3 to close things off? Mufasa going for the push with the UMP, looking for that final elimination, looking for the final chicken dinner of the Americas Elite League. Koi going black in a blanket of unknown and no smokes. Goes right behind.
He gets one.
A jump shot. Oh, I thought it would go the entire way. Nice try from Koi, but it's not meant to be for Nova's. Rise secure themselves the final chicken dinner of the day and the final chicken dinner of the Americas Elite League.
We saw Koi get a 1v4 already in the game, so I was thinking if anybody was going to be able to pull it off, it was going to be him. He got one, but couldn't quite get the second. And you said it yourself, Rise Esports started the day with a chicken dinner in Miramar, and they end the day with a chicken dinner in Miramar. What a rise up. What a step up. What a way for them to close out the Americas Elite League.
Absolutely insanity to what we've been able to witness in these games. Alpha 7 gave it a fair shot. VIVO Key gave it a fair shot, but Rise was mightier at the end to get themselves those points and to ruin hopes and dreams, shatter dreams actually of some teams that were hoping to go for a little bit of an improvement in that top 3 placement. Fair try, nice attempt from some of these guys, but importantly, we have to keep in mind that Influence Rage, despite not playing this final game, will be able to stand on strong and remain in that first place. We'll look at the overall rankings to see how close it actually was in these final games, but look at that final push of Rise. I thought Koi could get it. That jump was absolutely insane, and I really thought he could maybe take that 1v3 clutch versus Rise. You know what? It was just not meant to be. 20 points for Nova and 24 points for Rise in this final game. Looking at the points of Vivo Keyed, 8. Looking at the points also for Alpha 7, 4. Nowhere near the amount they needed to climb up an extra position in the rankings. But you know what? It is still a valiant effort from all of these teams in this final game.
Nova Esports, they came into this day holding on to 4th place. They lost it very early on after a Rise chicken dinner. And the opportunity was there for them to reclaim that 4th place. And although they did everything they could, especially Koi, carrying right until the bitter end, Rise, they didn't get dealt with, and they got the chicken dinner. Unfortunately for Nova and NA, nobody in the top 4 for North America. Top 5 will be the best they can ask for.
Yeah, NA teams not going to be able to quite put the level of competition. SA teams, LATAM teams, Brazil teams are going to be the ones on top of the world right now. But Nova gave it a very, very fair shot. And you know what? We're sure that if we have Knights, you know what, in the future, I'm sure that Knights would also give a pretty big run for their money for all of the teams in this lobby. We'll see, of course, how that's going to be going. Nova and Knights being the hopes of NA as things currently stand. So, looking at the game rankings here, of course, we're going to be able to see that some teams at the bottom have not been able to have those clear improvements we were hoping to see from some of these squads. ESTORM, you know what, I'm still going to give a big pat on the back for these guys. Really big step up for these last 2 to 3 days of play. Really went a lot more in that aggressive play style that we praised them for time and time again. So really happy with ESTORM throughout these last few days. I want to see next time that I see ESTORM and that I have to cover them in a tournament, I want to see ESTORM play how they were in these last few days, but at the very start of the tournament. If they do so, I think ESTORM has a very big chance of being one of the top contenders in the region.
Similar with Delta Stars, I think they've been a little bit overshadowed improvement-wise by ESTORM, but and have seen many sparkles of improvement from Delta Stars. Like this game alone, yes, it was only 6 points, but if you look back at previous days, the majority of the points they were getting was from placement points, whereas that game, at least as an example, was more elimination points. And I think we have seen an improvement from Delta Stars in their aggression, in their coordination. Still a long way to go as you look at the stats closer from the members of Rise. Unlike other games where they had 40 to 50 nades and smokes, it was very good heavy performance from Rise as only 11 nades came through.
A lot more laid back this time. It is nothing bad about that one, as long as they can still get himself the chicken dinner. That is all that really truly matters. 9 eliminations, 7 plus heals on their teammates. So overall, really good rounded up stats from these guys, and looking to get more impact. So we'll see, maybe in season 4 of the Americas Elite League, we'll see if they could try and be the team to get himself that chicken dinner. You know what? Still being top 5 is no small feat. You know, it's still a very, very impressive achievement for them to make it top 5 in such a competitive region that's been getting better as time has been going on. And Nova, you know what? Feels good. A little bit of a sweetness to end things off for the side of Nova, with the MVP of this game going over to Koi with those 5 eliminations. Koi and Kindness, I said it. This is my first time covering tournaments over to the NA/SA side of things, and Koi and Kindness left a very big impression on me super early on in this tournament. I want to see more of Koi and Kindness. I think they're 2 of my favorite players coming into this, and I'm sure that we're going to see them go very far in the future. Maybe PMGC? We'll see.
Yeah, fully deserved the MVP, at least individually, from that game. Funnily enough, coincidentally enough, Koi is an English word that also means being shy. And he has a silhouette, so there's no kind of face. So you could say he's being a little bit coy, not showing his face. And his name is Koi. Just, you know, a little bit of a fun, coincidental fact for you.
Yeah, just wait until he starts swimming in a game, and then you'll have a completely different thing to say about Koi. But we'll see how things are going to go. Then onto the second page. Juko is going to be able to be the top healer of this game with 507. Noons with a top distance at 281. I told you, man, the white hair, it's something. And it's not a theory by now. It's not a game theory anymore. Okay, so it's a real fact. It's a factual fact. That's what I can tell you. And VT2K also top distance traveled with almost 10,000 meters going to be taken. There we have it, Imperium. We're about to go and look at the overall rankings very, very soon. I cannot wait to see exactly how close it has been. And we have a few little changes potentially happen throughout the day. One of those teams that we're thinking of potentially ESTORM, also BULUC CHABTAN. They had some really good results throughout the day, and they had a very good start of the tournament. They kind of dipped in the middle, but they came back strong towards the end. So I'm really intrigued to see actually where do BULUC CHABTAN and ESTORM actually stand as we end the tournament here.
I believe they still have overall finished in 7th place. I don't think it was enough to overtake INCO in 6th, because even though INCO went down to the 1v4, it wasn't meant to be. But this is it, Max. Influence Rage. Look at that.
Congratulations to Influence Rage, as they are going to be your winners of Season 3 of the Americas Elite League in absolute dominant fashion. This is the gift that keeps on giving. Consistency is what embodies this team. And they just showed that once again, consistency is truly key when it comes to PUBG Mobile Esport. And man, just shy of the 400 point. You know what? Could have been a little bit more satisfying, but they still are able to make things happen till the very, very better end. Alpha 7, man, they were almost there, but if one thing can be said about Alpha 7 is they dominated in terms of frags alone. 209 eliminations so far over the course of those 32 games of play. And the second team with the top eliminations actually is going to be Rise Esports with 181. So they have just about a 30 elimination lead. That is huge for Alpha 7.
I'd love to know out of how many of those 181 eliminations were secured by Mythic. I would argue it's at least a quarter, heading towards kind of 33%. But either way, a great way for Rise to finish. I'm so happy, realistically, that Influence Rage won, because I'm always a big advocate for consistency in performance. I'm always a big component for being able to kind of have good game after good game, good day after good day. And as much as, of course, if Alpha 7 had have gotten the job done in the final game, then of course, credit, they would have deserved it. But I feel like Influence Rage deserved it more with how consistent they were across the days. They just didn't really seem to miss a beat. Time and time again, 11 points, 12 points, 16 points, 17 points. It was just non-stop up there in the top 5, top 3s, top 2s, and they deserved first place.
Looking at the top kills of the day, it's going to be, of course, Rise with Mythic. Going to be taking at that top spot with 18 elimination in a single day of play. Absolute pure insanity. Another player that we're going to be able to see is Romulos in from INCO Gaming, where it's good to see some different names. Chuko also for ATON. Int's going to be having Entheos up there, and Golden for INCO. So 2 players of INCO actually going to be now top fraggers of the day. Always good thing to see. But Imperium, very interesting is that when you look back on the last 2 seasons of America's Elite League, season number 1, Alpha 7 were first. Season number 2, Alpha 7 were also first. This is the first time that Alpha 7 has not been able to take home the America's Elite League trophy. And in the last 2 seasons also, Influence Rage season 1 were 3rd. Influence Rage in season 2 were actually put down in 4th position. They were always just shy of that first place, but they were finally able to make it happen. And in terms of top MVP, who is going to be able to make it happen is none other than Mythic, by a landslide, taking the MVP spot of the tournament with 7.14 MVP points. This guy is absolutely cracked.
When we looked at the end of yesterday, he was in 2nd place. So in a matter of 4 games, with the bookend chicken dinners, Mythic climbed over Revo and said, "This is my top MVP title. I was and am the best player currently in America's Elite League." And I gotta say, fully deserved. Mythic is a hell of a player, and I will be looking out for him much closer in the future.
I mean, he was the top player, right, in PMGC West, so it doesn't come as a huge surprise if you've been following this guy, but you know what?
True.
I understand now why Mythic is on top of the NA/SA seniors for a very clear reason, because this guy is absolutely insane. In a good way, of course, things are going to be going. But man, that was an absolute insane way to end off the day. Things were very cool. A lot of teams had some really good plays. It got really close until the very, very end, but you know what? It was just not meant to be. Influence Rage were meant to be your real victors at the end of this 3rd season. They were close once again for the 1st season with 3rd place, 2nd season 4th place. They finally were able to take home that trophy and take home that $1,400. Their consolation prize for 2nd and 3rd is to take home $900. That's going to be for Alpha 7 and also for the side of VIVO Keyed. Really good try, but man, we're about to then wrap up the stream, of course, ladies and gentlemen, but it's been an absolute pleasure to bring you all of the action throughout these 8 days of play. Anything you would like to potentially add, Imperium, before we do wrap things up?
Is this a sign of what's going to happen across the 2022 year? Are we going to see a new champion across the PMPLs here with Influence Rage? Are they going to be the new best team coming into PMGC? I know we're already in the start of March, but there's still a long year ahead, and I'm excited to see what happens. And America's Elite League was a beautiful taste of what we will see, and it was a pleasure to cast it.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Normally I've got to be very picky about which PMPL I want to watch, but from what I've witnessed so far in this America's Elite League, I think PMPL Brazil is definitely going to have a lot of my attention. With that said, once again, Imperium, thanks so much for being with me throughout all of these 8 days of play. Thank you very much to all of your viewers at home that have been checking out the broadcast. It's been an absolute pleasure, as always, to go into the action and hopefully bring you some good moments and spend some good time with us for the America's Elite League Season 3. Season 3, hopefully Season 4 will be just around the corner. We'll keep you guys updated about that on social media as always. My name is Max, man. Join with Imperium for America's Elite League Season 3. We'll see you guys next time for another season.